TRPE Nation, what's good? It's your boy C. Diddy coming to you live with a special announcement. Today's show with Dr. Umar is sponsored by Zuri Med Spa, Philadelphia area's premier luxury medical spa where wellness meets opulence. They are specializing in IV hydration, post-op massages, weight management, and physical training. They also have liquid lipo, wellness shots, and everything in between. 360 degrees to your medical experience. They're here to take care of it and offer you all the different wellness benefits that are associated with that. You can follow them on Instagram at zuri.luxmedspa. That's Zuri, Z-U-R-I .luxmedspa. And you can also tap in with them online at zuriluxmedspa.com. That's zuriluxmedspa.com, launching this February 2023 in the Philadelphia and Delaware regions. Enjoy the show. Power to the people. We back to do maintenance. Yeah, we gonna rock like crack when it came in, and Matt gonna love it.
Yeah, I'm gonna love it.
TRP Nation, today is a momentous occasion. Today's guest is a Philadelphia native, North Philly to be exact. He is a doctor of clinical psychology, 3-time master degree holder, public speaker, and published author who specializes in working with African-American children and families. He is the Prince of Pan-Africanism, descendant of Marcus Garvey, founder of the Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy, and one of the most important and trusted voices today on Black history, race relations, and culturally relevant topics. At this present time, he is the most viral celebrity in the world. And today, we're definitely going to be giving out lashes. TRP Nation, welcome King Kong Consciousness himself, Dr. Umar Johnson.
Black Power, glad to be here, fellas.
Glad to have you here, sir.
All is well, all is well.
You've been number one on our hit list as somebody that we wanted to sit down and talk to for probably since we started this podcast about 5-6 years ago.
Powerful.
You are someone that I said kind of in the intro, a trusted voice, somebody that's well respected, somebody that has receipts and is able to be fact checked on the things that you discuss and talk about. And I think that's why whenever you go on certain platforms, it pings the algorithm in a different sort of way to where everything that you do is pretty much traveling right now and ending up in a lot of different places and spaces. So the way I kind of want to start is you've been on an incredible roll these last few weeks, and every piece of content you've done, whether it's your own Instagram, The Breakfast Club, stuff ends up on Twitter, Hell of a Week with Charlemagne, and all these other platforms has basically been going viral. Does it ever feel surreal seeing your words and ideologies travel everywhere? Or are you pretty much used to it now?
I'm kind of used to it, but I also try not to pay too much attention to it because despite the celebrity aspect of who I am, my foundation is activism.
Gotcha.
And so I never want to be swept up or swept away from my true purpose and calling.
Yeah.
And so for me, I try not to give it too much attention because I know how easy it is for the brain to be distracted from what your true purpose and goals are. And to be honest with you, although I appreciate the quote-unquote celebrity aspect of who I am, sometimes it can be a deterrent. And I say that because when I meet brothers and sisters in the community, a lot of them can sometimes see me too much as a celebrity, not enough as an activist. And the reason that becomes a problem is when you look at a celebrity, they perform and they go home. There's no expectation of continuation. There's no expectation of sacrifice. There's no expectation to really change anything or build anything.
Gotcha.
But as an activist, when the lights go off, we still working.
That's honestly when the real work begins.
Exactly. Yeah. And so most of what we are called to do never makes it to television. And so when I meet the young brothers and sisters, they want the photos, they want to be at the lectures, all that's beautiful. But what about the work?
Absolutely.
What about the door, roll up your sleeves, get your hands dirty, work? And that part sometimes gets swept under the rug when the celebrity piece kind of takes over. So you look at the Breakfast Club. So normally when I go on there, things go viral. It's good because it gets the message out. Mm-hmm. I always say before my first Breakfast Club interview, if I walked through the airport, half the people knew me. After the first Breakfast Club interview, everybody knew me, which was good because the message is going. But on the flip side, you know you're being categorized as a celebrity, not an activist. So people want to be around you, but they're not necessarily interested in helping you do the work.
It's basically just the catching some of the heat.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. It's the gift, but it's also the curse.
Got you. Is there such thing as like a celebrity activist?
I would say that sounds so phony. It's superficial. I mean, you do have celebrity activists.
Right.
And no disrespect to none of them, but I wouldn't consider that genuine activism. Because for our celebrities, a lot of them feel like if I speak up about an issue, that's activism. No, it's not.
Right.
Activism is not the message. Activism is not the voice. Activism is not you speaking truth to power. That's the preparation for the activism.
Absolutely.
That's setting the tone for the activism. When I look at activism in a concrete way, at the risk of oversimplifying it, activism is work done directly to impact the 5 major problems we have as American Africans. So you're talking about miseducation, mass incarceration, gentrification, police genocide, access to wealth. What are you doing to impact that above and beyond your voice? And then I'm looking at the 5 major institutions we have that we lack. Our own independent black schools, our own independent black banks, our own independent black supermarkets, our own independent black hospitals, our own independent black manufacturing and distribution centers. Mm-hmm. So you either attacking one of them 5 problems or you building one of those 5 institutions. If you're not doing that, I can't call you an activist. You might be a spokesperson for our issues. You might be a voice of truth, but an activist must be about action, and talking is not action.
Absolutely. It's crazy because those were literally my next
I was about to say that.
Those were my next 2 questions
when you're good,
to you.
You're good, because that was really where this was.
You answer the questions before we get to them.
And let me clarify black owned, because I just had a brother reach out to me. He wants me to help him push this National Black Business Directory. Wonderful idea. But I said, brother, before I can get behind you, I need your definition of what is a black business. Mm-hmm. He said his definition is 51% ownership. I said, I can't rock with that.
Right.
51% ownership is not black. 100% ownership is black for a Pan-Africanist. I respect what you're doing, brother. But Dr. Umar cannot put my name on something when I know 49% of that business is owned by white folks. Right. And one thing I understand about white power, they don't share for long with black people. Right. They get into business with us to take it over. You understand? Russell Simmons co-founded Def Jam. Russell Simmons is no longer a owner of Def Jam. You could look at a plethora of black businesses that started out black and white. They ended up all white. So I can't rock with a black business definition of 51% ownership. And that's the problem with our black banks. Most of them are 51% ownership. Are they really black? Who's really calling the shots? Who really owns the balance of power in that business? Let me give you an example. You got 10% of the business. He got 10% of the business. I got 10% of the business. He got 10%. Another black person got another 10%. That's 50, right?
Yeah, 50%.
We got another black person with 1%. 6 of us got
51%.
But one white man got the other 49. Mm-hmm. Who really run that damn bank?
White man.
Thank you. And that's why I can't rock with the 51% ownership as being black.
Yeah. You outlined 5 specific types of institutions that we need to establish. Why are these specific institutions so important to black life and black economic development?
Good question. Education. If you don't prepare the children to survive in this competitively racist society, you have failed them. Philadelphia Public Schools, I'm a product of it. I was a school psychologist in it. I was a vice principal in it. Those schools are not designed to prepare black children for success.
You worked in the Philly school district?
Yes, sir.
Oh, wow, really?
Yes, sir. And so with the public school system, their job is to perpetuate the black underclass. Their job is to make sure the white kids continue to control the political economic destiny of the city. They're not there to upset the apple cart. If you properly educate the black child, that boy or girl can now challenge your white kids for control of the city. White Philly ain't looking for that. They want a few tokens, your city council persons, you understand? Couple black businesses, couple black churches. Every black city is designed the same way. I just came from Tampa last night. Ran into Brother T.I. at the airport, as a matter of fact. I was in Aruba last weekend. Guess what? Every black community is set up the same way by the white power structure.
Even the foreign ones.
Even the foreign ones. Even in Aruba, 90% of their food is brought in by the Chinese. If the Chinese stop feeding black people in Aruba, they starve. Let's come to Philadelphia. 95% of our food is being brought in by non-African sources.
Yo, I was riding through the hood yesterday, and I'm like, yo, it's really poppy stores all over. Like, it's unbelievable in some of these neighborhoods.
Yeah.
It's 3 on the corner. Like,
Yeah.
corner. Like, it's crazy.
We are literally dependent on other races for our food. For your food. How can that be? So again, the school system, if you don't own that, you're not socializing your children for what you want them to think. You're not indoctrinating your children for what you want them to be. You're not educating your children for the solutions that you need them to find. You have to control your education. Any people who are comfortable letting their oppressors control their children's education are not serious about liberty. You can't be. Nobody trusts education to their other children. We're a few blocks away from Chinatown. In Chinatown, their children go to the school district of Philadelphia. They do. But when they come back home, guess what? They get a separate education from the community centers in Chinatown. You understand me?
Yes,
they
indeed.
make sure those children understand your goal is to perpetuate Chinese imperialism. You are not in Philadelphia to share power with blacks. You're not in Philadelphia to share power with Anglo-Saxons. We are in Philadelphia to get as much as this economic pie for ourselves as possible. So without that education, black children are just out there drifting. They don't know what to do. You follow me?
Absolutely.
Most of them are married to money and materialism. You understand? They have no purpose at all. Chinese kids, focus. Jewish kids, focus. Mexican kids, focus. Latino children, more than us, are focused. You understand?
Yeah.
Our kids, no purpose. We got them strung out on religion or strung out on money, and both of them are traps because religion teaches our people to be colorblind, right? So you can't build power for black people in Philly because God don't see color. So now you psychologically paralyzed into looking out for everybody instead of prioritizing your own people. So you got to have your own schools. You don't get out of this with your own schools. Study any revolution struggle in history. I don't care if you look at the Russian Revolution, Chinese Revolution, African Revolution. Look at any revolution in history. Show me one who got out of oppression without their own schools for their children. You can't find one.
Yeah,
Think about it.
Yeah, no, because I've been doing a lot of like research and reading and
Yeah.
watching a lot of stuff from the 30s, 40s, 50s. Yeah, you guys.
You can't. You follow. So we're trying to come out of oppression with white education. So that's why you need your own schools, your own hospitals.
I mean, that goes without saying.
Need you say more? COVID. Need you say more? Look at all the elders who have died. I look at the amount of people who reached out to me during COVID, and even now, I'm getting text messages at least once a week. Doc, I lost my mom. I lost my dad. I lost my grandma. These hospitals are literally killing black folks. They were and they still are.
Absolutely.
And then when you look at the fact that the federal government subsidizes hospitals for COVID deaths, you have people who are dying of non-COVID related factors.
And they just
but
check-
they're
they just-
blaming COVID to get the federal subsidy.
Yeah.
And I would dare argue that they killing black people to get the federal subsidy. You almost dead? Let us help you out and stamp COVID on there so we can get a couple $100K from the government.
Shit, even when you go to the birth rate, like
Yes, sir.
when I like just seeing that
Yeah.
8 times
Yes.
black women died 8 times at a rate faster than white women in the hospital during birth is just like, how is that even possible?
How is it possible?
It don't even
How is it
it
possible?
doesn't make logical sense.
Yeah, it doesn't line up with like modern medicine.
It doesn't
and
line
all
up
the
with
advances that we
statistics, no
have.
other
They're killing
analytic.
them.
It doesn't make
They're
sense.
killing them, and it's going to get worse. Why is it going to get worse beginning in 2023? Because the U.S. Supreme Court just overturned Roe versus Wade. There's no federal guarantee to abortion. There's now a state
Yeah, it's
guarantee
litigated
to
on a
abortion.
state-to-state
Exactly.
level.
So, because they now know they cannot force the federal government to finance abortions, now they have to come up with ways to hold in check the black birth rate. Because a lot of people say, well, wait a minute, Doc, isn't it a good thing that abortion was overturned? Well, if you don't understand racism, it may be.
I've seen people go as far as saying that was like a thing for white people, where it's like,
Yeah, they're trying to save their numbers.
Yeah, that's what I'm
because
saying.
half the states in America have a declining white birth rate.
Exactly.
So in 25 or 50, you have more white people dying than being born. So yes, they had to overturn Roe versus Wade to save themselves. But people also saw it as a victory for us because now you won't have as many black women getting abortions when we lead the country in abortion. But what you fail to recognize, because they now know they cannot federalize black death anymore on the birthing table, they have to come up with other strategies to prevent black life. So what am I anticipating? I'm anticipating that the birth control is going to become more toxic. I'm anticipating that the vaccinations they give our women are going to cause more sterilizations. I'm anticipating that there's going to be more stillborn black children. They're going to be killing even more of them on the birthing table because they now know they can't force abortion the way that they once did. So it's not going to get better for black women. It's actually going to get worse because white folks now have to hold in check our birth rate, and they're going to have to do it using non-abortion tactics such as poor prenatal care. You understand? Poor birthing care right there during the birth. And I think a lot of black women need to really look at having their babies at birthing centers. You have birthing centers all throughout Philadelphia. I recommend that. I also recommend home birth.
That was my fiance was talking about that, the home birth, and how like we ever do it. If that's what she wants to do. That's
because you know, once upon a time, you couldn't have your baby in a hospital. You had to have it at home anyway.
Right,
you follow?
right.
So we need to go back to that type of a situation because these hospitals, they are institutions of death when it comes to black children. There's no way black women been having babies longer than all of the women on earth put together. But as soon as you come to America, you can't do it right no more.
To that point that you just made about the fact that once upon a time that was the norm, having babies at home and stuff like that. How did we get away from that? Like, what's the historical aspect of like people, society shifting to basically say the hospital is some state funded or privately funded hospital is the standard for how and why people deliver children?
Well, here's the thing. Whenever white people catch a cold, we get the flu. And so what I mean by that is whenever the white man puts out some propaganda on television that is best and safest for your baby to be born in a hospital, white people buy into it. Black people completely buy into it. Politically speaking, the white opinion is the black man's Bible, politically speaking. Whatever the white man says, most of our people will swallow it wholesale and not even question it, even in the face of contradictory evidence. Take the COVID vaccination, right? Cicely Tyson took it, she died. DMX took it, he died. Colin Powell took it, he died. Marvelous Marvin Hagler took it, he died. Hank Aaron, arguably one of the greatest baseball players of all time, he took the COVID vaccination, he died. Renoko Rashidi, one of our master teachers in the conscious community, he took the COVID vaccination, he died. So you're watching all these elders who are well known die from taking his shot, but yet and still, because the white man said, I need this in order to survive, our elders are taking it and they dying. And if the COVID don't get them the flu shot, to get them the flu shot is one of the most toxic things you can take above the age of 70. And it even says it. The older you get, the more toxic this becomes, but yet we still take it. Now, in defense of black people, I will say this. One of the greatest human rights abuses in modern history has been the failure of America's medical industrial complex to provide black people with informed consent. And what I mean by that is when you take that COVID shot, they're not really telling you all the things that can go wrong. When you take that flu shot, they're not really telling you all the things that can go wrong. When you give your son some Adderall, some Concerta, some Vyvanse, some Ritalin, some Risperdal, they're not telling you that this will kill that boy's brain cells. They're not telling you this can sterilize him. They're not telling you he can grow breasts as a result of taking these medicines that has a higher level of estrogen in them. Nobody's giving black people informed consent for two reasons. Number one, they don't value black life. And number two, they want the money that comes from exploiting us. Remember, racism is married to capitalism. Racism is the husband, capitalism is the wife. So whenever they introduce a problem into black America, the racist aspect of the problem is to do what? Destabilize us, right? And disempower us. The capitalist side of the problem is how do we make money off this problem we causing for black people? Money is always being made when we are being hurt. You can't name a single problem black people have in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the world that somebody's not making money off of. Whether it's special ed, whether it's miseducation, mass incarceration, COVID, police genocide, name a problem we got that's not a multi-million-dollar industry. Multi-billion-dollar industry.
Specific to, people monetizing black trauma and black dysfunction and things like that. What do you think of the recent social justice movement with them trying to like overturn a lot of the bad things that they did in the 80s and 90s and stuff like that?
Okay.
What's kind of like the Trojan horse if you had to look at the situation and analyze it? What's the Trojan horse to this, like, or what's the catch that all of a sudden they feel like, oh well, we did it wrong, now we want to get it right? Because there's always some hidden message to it.
Well, first of all, the obvious contradiction in this so-called new woke government movement is the fact that while you claim to be progressive on social justice issues, you are passing unprecedented laws that prevent public school from teaching about slavery and racism. So how can you be socially progressive, but you are literally trying to turn the public school into an intellectual indoctrination camp where truths about white supremacy and racism cannot be spoken? So that's the obvious contradiction. Now I'm going to give you one piece of this so-called progressive woke government movement that is such nonsense. The removal from public view of statues of racists. As you see all across America, they're taking down Robert E. Lee. We're taking down Jefferson Davis. We're taking down all these statues of these white men who contributed to slavery and disenfranchising the black folks. I don't want the statues taken down.
Dog.
Leave them up.
Dog.
Why? Because when I educate my children about white supremacy, I need them to see that. You don't remove the truth, leave it up. Right. Now, if you want to remove it from prominent view, okay, but put it in a museum. But when I educate our students at the Frederick Douglass and Marcus Garvey Academy, I need to take them to see them statues so they can see that despite how racist this man was, this country still saw the need to dignify him in a statue. You follow what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Because if we allowed all them statues to be removed, guess what's going to happen 100 years from now? They're going to say them people never existed.
Yeah, real shit.
Just like in the textbooks, they're changing the word slavery and they're putting involuntary servitude.
Yeah, what is that about?
Yeah,
It's about the erasing. They are literally sanitizing the white man's role in the greatest human dehumanization experiment of all time. They are sanitizing it right in front of our faces, and we're letting them get away with it. How dare you call an enslaved African an indentured servant? An indentured servant had a contract. An indentured servant only worked for a certain amount of time. An indentured servant was not stripped of their human rights. An indentured servant even had a right to sue in court if they were being abused contractually by their boss or employer. We had no such rights because we were chattel. We were property. We were not even people. How dare you do that? And that's all the more reason why we need our own schools. If Harriet Tubman or Frederick Douglass or Dr. King or Malcolm or Medgar or Huey, any of them saw that my people have a $2 trillion buying power, $2 trillion, 2.7 out buying Christmas gifts, and they don't even care enough to build their own schools, what the hell did I sacrifice my life for? As bad as white folks hate black folks, I think our ancestors might be more angry at us than even white folks are for how we have abandoned their struggle.
What do you think about the fact that in the last few years, there's been a lot of money just printed in all these different global economies and given to different people and things like that, and just really a lot of money been put in the hands of the everyday person. In America, we had PUA, PPP, and all of that in the wake of COVID-19. They had something similar over in China. Their citizens went and made export and import companies and bought shipping ports and a whole lot of infrastructure purchase all around the world. And our people went to Saks and Neiman Marcus and stuff like that. How disappointing is that, understanding that the same opportunities were afforded to us and we just completely dropped the ball and didn't create any infrastructure for ourselves?
Absolutely. While we were buying merchandise, Bill Gates was acquiring as much
Didn't I say it? He's got the most
agricultural land in the country now.
He's the number one owner.
Why would a eugenicist? Bill Gates is a population control junkie. Why would a population control junkie whose specialty is computer science be interested in agricultural science. Because if I want to reduce the amount of black people who are alive, I have to reduce their access to real food. You see that? I have to cut down black America's ability to purchase real food. And I can foresee a situation where Bill Gates is going to use this farmland that he's acquired to come up not only with a new form of genetically modified crop, but a new form of toxic genetically modified crop that's going to be shipped to black people all over the world, beginning with America, that's going to expedite our death. One of the things you learn about rich white men with property and power throughout history, they have always felt that they had a God-given right to decide who lives or dies. Show me a white billionaire who was not a population control junkie. I'm studying Elon Musk because I'm not sure about him yet.
Trying to figure him out.
I'm trying to figure him out. But nearly every other white billionaire in the history of the world has been a population control junkie, and Bill Gates is no different. The fact that he bought up all that farmland spells disaster for African people. And even if he doesn't put out toxic GMO crop, he could just sit on the farmland. So guess what? You can't even grow real food because I own all the land upon which you can grow it. So you're dependent now on the GMO farmers to keep on feeding your family. Half of what we eat is not even food. It's disease and death.
There's a huge movement right now in society at large about defunding billionaires and the fact that nobody needs to be a billionaire and things like that. Do you think that there's a direct correlation between being a billionaire and having like a God complex, so to speak?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I'm speaking to. If you are not grounded in a serious spiritual ethos, and most white people in period are not grounded in a serious spiritual ethos, let alone a billionaire, including the black ones. I don't think too many of them are grounded in a spiritual ethos. I think they're trying to find their way back to it because as African people, our spirituality is central to who we are and our existence as an individual and as a community. So I see people like Sean Puffy Combs trying to rediscover his connection to spirituality because unfortunately, since black people are not used to having money, it takes us to get rich to realize money isn't everything. Right. And that's the contradiction of the black millionaire and billionaire. You spend your whole life to get here. And when you get here, you find out that this really ain't much, you see. And so I think that we as black people have to get serious about our survival. And that's why in the conversation I had with Charlemagne and Envy about reparations, I said one of the things we have to do is reclaim all of the stolen farmland. How much of those acres that Bill Gates just bought of agricultural land is actually owned by black folks that was stolen away and sold and sold and resold again? We need our land, not just to live on, but to survive on so we can grow our own food. We are not thinking about survival. One of the biggest weaknesses psychologically about black folks, we exist for the here and now. We live for the day. We do not plan and prepare for the future. This has been a curse of ours ever since slavery, because under the domination of the slave power, you had no control over your future. You could die today. You could be sold today. Your wife can be raped right now. Your son can be shipped off to work. You had no control over your future, so you did not bother to think about it. And that conditioning, although it ended 157 years ago, is still with us right now. So some people will say, well, if that's the case, Dr. Umar, how did we get Black Wall Street? They planned, they prepared. But the difference between Black Wall Street and the rest of us, or should I say the difference between that era and this era, you only got a Black Wall Street, brothers, because white people refused to allow you to participate in their reality. Right. Black Wall Street was a necessity because you couldn't go to their school. You couldn't shop at a store. You couldn't live in a neighborhood. So if you did not create your own, you died. Black Wall Street was a necessity. It's no longer a necessity. If you want to hamper after white folks, if you want to be a secondary thought in the minds of white people, go ahead and practice your pathological integration. So we're 55 years in since the death of Dr. King, still practicing pathological integration. And where has it gotten us?
Can I ask you a question? And I always talk about this when it comes to my father and my grandfather, conversations we would have, and just doing a lot of reading, watching, and learning about, you know, the progression of black people. We've talked about it on the show. It seems like we were on a trajectory as far as accumulating and getting things done up until about like 1975, and things just kind of flipped.
Yes.
What was it, and how do we get back to that?
There was two fears in America from the 20s to the 60s. So the 20s, you have the Garvey movement. Mm-hmm. And then in the 60s, you have your civil rights movement. The two fears was, number one, black children's intellectual superiority is showing itself. Mm-hmm. Although we practice in Willie Lynch and Jim Crow, who came up with the solution to keep that light on forever if you so chose? A black scientist, Lewis Latimer. Who came up with that gas mask that allowed us to go into burning houses and save people without suffocating ourselves? Black scientists. Who came up with that helicopter? Who came up with that stoplight? Who came up with that walkie-talkie? Who came up with that self-lubricating engine? Yeah. Who came up with the refrigerated truck? Who came up with that golf tee? Who came up with that ironing board? So white folks are looking and saying, if we let them continue being separate, competing with us, we gonna lose. That black child was inventing things white kids were not even thinking about. Even though it was an underfunded, dilapidated schoolhouse, even though you had teachers who were not prepared in the traditional white way, those children were being taught how to think.
Absolutely.
If we let this continue, they will be the giants of capitalism, not us. How do we destroy black intellectual brilliance? Integrate the schools. Bring them into our schools and subject them to psychological terrorism, emotional abuse, so they can't even think about doing what they were doing at the black schoolhouse because they're too busy being called the N-word. So the way to destroy black intellectual power was integration. 40 years later, they said, you know what? These black Wall Streets is causing a problem for us. We're going to have to do something to stop this because these black businesses are growing so well. These people are so ingenious with their business concepts and ideas that if we don't destroy it, they're going to outdo white folks. And in a world based on white supremacy, you can't have black economic power. Right. So they destroyed the black Wall Streets in the 20s, and then they desegregated America in the 60s. They made black people feel that you would be better off with us than amongst yourselves. And even though we can now see in hindsight, it was an economic sabotage. That was a military science tactic that they pulled on us. It wasn't about equality. It wasn't about social justice. It wasn't about freedom. It wasn't about constitutional 14th Amendment rights. You know what it was about? The economic disintegration of black America to the benefit of white America. Desegregation of schools, desegregation of society was about one thing: access to the black dollar. That's all it was about. In fact, if you look at civil rights law, it don't even fall under constitutional law. It don't fall under human rights law. Civil rights law falls under antitrust law. It was commercial. They said what? You can't keep them out of your restaurant. You can't keep them out of your movie theater. You can't keep them out of your hotel. It wasn't about human rights.
No.
It was about access to the black dollar. That's all they did. They gave white businesses access to the black dollar to prevent us from accumulating wealth. The government's logic was these white people are so stupid to realize that this integration is going to benefit us.
It's going to help their bottom line.
It's going to help you.
Yeah.
I know you don't want them living in your neighborhood. I know you don't want them going to your child's school, but that's a small price you're going to have to pay to make sure we maintain economic dominance over black people. I don't think we have studied enough of how the destruction of Black Wall Street, the desegregation of public school, and the integration of American society was more about accessing the black dollar and preventing black power than anything else.
TRPE Nation, what's good? It's your boy C. Diddy coming to you live with a special announcement. Today's show with Dr. Umar is sponsored by Zuri Med Spa, Philadelphia area's premier luxury medical spa, where wellness meets opulence. TRPE Nation, hold up for a minute. We got to park the car just for a second, man. It's your boy C. Diddy. I'm here with another special guest in the middle of the Dr. Umar episode. I know y'all enjoying this. I know y'all learning. I know y'all being entertained. I know he going crazy. We going crazy. We got to park the car just for a minute to hop out have another conversation and figure out some other things. We're going to get y'all health and wellness right for 2023. I got Nurse Key here from Zuri Med Spa. They're going to be launching in the middle of January. So we're here now to give y'all all the information around this business, what they got going on, and what you can expect from this company going forward. How you doing today?
I'm good, and you?
I'm excellent. I'm glad you was able to pull up and talk to me today and give everybody in TRPE Nation some information about this new amazing business that you're going to be launching in just a few short weeks. So tell me a little bit about yourself and your business.
So I'm Nurse Key. I've been a registered nurse for over a decade now. I'm also a certified personal trainer, also a vegan, and I've coached myself and others to over 30 pounds of weight loss in 2 months or less.
Awesome. So let me ask you this. Tell us a little bit about the new project and the inspiration behind it.
Okay. So being a registered nurse for so long and being a certified personal trainer and coaching people have asked about weight loss products and also about how to get well. So I thought that I would merge the two, wellness and fitness, into one to bring you guys Zuri Med Spa. So where we offer wellness and fitness all rolled into one. At Zuri Lux, we want you to feel as good on the inside as you look on the outside. Our motto is where wellness meets opulence. Yeah. So that's what we want to bring.
Well, I mean, you nailed the name because it sounds like y'all are offering a full 360-degree luxury
yes.
medical experience, for people of all different types and different situations. And
yep.
Let me ask you this. What made you choose the name?
The name. Good question. So Zuri is actually, in Swahili, it means beauty. And then Lux means luxury, obviously, right. And it's like the whole opulence. So I chose Zuri as a Swahili name because I wanted something that's close to our culture. So that's why I chose Zuri and Lux.
No, it's an amazing name and amazing business. Let me ask you this, though. What specific services are you guys going to be offering once you get launched coming up here?
Okay, so it's a long list. You guys could check it out on the web. But just to go over a few of our products, we have IV hydration. We offer wellness shots. We also offer weight management programs, meal plans, and post-op care. Okay. So our IV hydration, just a few examples. We have an immunity drip. Cold and flu season are here. COVID is still a thing. So we offer that so that you could get ahead of it. If you do suffer from chronic illnesses like asthma and things like that, we have a drip for that as well. For our athletes, we have a recovery drip. Awesome. And then as far as shots, we have B12 to get your energy up. We all work all day, tired all the time, get that B12 shot. Our popular shots are the liquid lipo and the semaglutide. So those are our two medically managed weight loss shots. So come to Zuri Lux, get your IV hydration. 70% of Americans are walking around dehydrated and don't even know it. So we have headaches, muscle pain, all types of things, brain fog, memory loss, and all of that can be cured by just getting the IV. So come to us. If you don't want to get your IV or get your shots for your weight loss, I do offer personal training, meal plans as well. If you want to go the surgery route, you should protect your investment. You spent all that money on your surgery. Come
protect your investment.
Nurse. We have a registered nurse. We have a medical doctor on the team. If you spent that much money, you want a professional to do your post-op care. So Zuri Med Spa has that as well.
That sounds awesome, man. For everybody out there, when can we expect for the business to be launching, and let us know how they can contact you and the locations where you're going to be operating out of?
Okay. So we are currently operating I'm licensed in 32 states, but right now we're operating in PA and Delaware as a concierge to start. But then we'll be moving to brick and mortar. We'll be launching in mid-February. So you guys could follow us on Instagram at zuri.luxmedspa. Also on the web, www.zuriluxmedspa.com. So you can get all the information about our grand opening, any new products that we have. So that's how you can reach us.
Okay, so the website Zuri.Lux Med Spa?
ZuriLuxMedSpa.com.
Okay, ZuriLuxMedSpa.com, launching mid-February, right now operating as a concierge service. Make sure you tap in with Nurse Key, all of the great people that they got over there working, man. They support TRPE, we support them. I'm definitely going to be getting in tune with them as far as getting these IV drips and things like that. That's something I added to my health regimen this year, just as a way of staying ahead of the curve with, being sick, fighting off, any type of colds, flu, stuff like that. And it's really helped me out a lot. So that's something I definitely believe in. Ladies, make sure y'all protecting y'all investment.
Protect your investment.
Yeah, getting that post-surgery care. Y'all going out here spending 10, 20 bands, getting them bodies right. You got to take care of them after the fact and make sure that it turned out the way that you want to.
Yes.
Nurse Key gonna get y'all right with that. You hear me? Once again, give them the website where they can contact you, and we're gonna get up out of here.
Yep. ZuriLuxMedSpa.com. Follow us on Instagram at Zuri.LuxMedSpa.
C. Diddy, realest podcast ever. We out.
It's great that you bring up Black Wall Street. I think that that's been a big historical significance point that a lot of black people have tapped into like the last 20, 30 years, and us trying to be intellectually curious and find ourselves. I don't think enough emphasis is put on the fact that were multiple Black Wall Streets all over the country. Opelika, communities in California, things like that. And they disenfranchise us pretty much all over the board.
Yep.
And I think those stories need to be, brought to the forefront as well. Under the guise of us learning more about ourselves and our history.
But more than the history, we need to reproduce the reality. Because I think sometimes as African people, we can get so caught up in what we were that we stop planning for who we need to be. Like I tell historians all the time, history is important, it's critical, it's necessary for reconstructing the African memory. But we can't go back and recreate ancient Egypt. Right. I'm not so much concerned about my child knowing what we did in Egypt as knowing how we did what we did in Egypt. It's not so much about knowing about Tulsa and Rosewood and Charleston and Wilmington. It's about how do we reproduce that. I think we get so caught up in the superficiality of the achievement that we don't study the scientific process of giving it life. Where are the Black Wall Streets today is the question. Yeah. Ancient Kemet was a great civilization. Where is ours now? I think sometimes black people get into a habit of thinking that we're going to liberate ourselves by convincing all non-white, non-black people that we were the greatest of all time once upon a time. Right. And we were the greatest of all time.
It's like, oh, look at what you did.
Exactly.
Like,
but guess what?
Don't do it again.
They don't care. Let's take a sports analogy, right? Sports is all about competition. Racism is all about competition. Does it matter who won the Super Bowl last year right now? Nope. Is anybody thinking about who won the Super Bowl last year? They worried about who gonna win it this year. Mm-hmm. They don't give a damn. Once that NBA championship is given out, it's a new season.
Yeah, 2 days later, all the analysts back on TV talking about next season.
Talking about, they don't even stand a shot next year.
Exactly. Black people need to understand that. In a world of competition, once the victor is decided, the reset button is hit. Yeah. And once that reset button is hit, nobody cares how much you did in the past. They only care about what you're doing and what you're doing in the future. I'm seeing a lot of black people get angry at Mexicans, angry at Latinos and Jews and Arabs and Native Americans and East Indians. And they say, look at what we did. We paved the way for all of you. You're benefiting from our blood, sweat, and tears. That 1964 Civil Rights Bill, that 65 Voting Rights Act, the 67 Civil Rights Bill, the 14th Amendment. Everything that non-black people benefit from in this country came through our blood, sweat, and tears. Okay, but you think they're going to stop and consider you because they're living off of your exploitations? Not at all. They don't give a damn about you. No non-white person comes to America to share or help black people. If you know of a group that we a few blocks from Chinatown. You know when Chinatown was built? 1870. The Chinese showed up in Philadelphia 5 years after the 13th Amendment. Do you know why? The government said we cannot empower these formerly enslaved Africans because they have so much skill that if we let them compete equitably with white folks, they will dominate us.
Yeah, they know how to run the so basically black folk know how to run the sugar mill and the cotton gin. And
what don't they know how to do?
We had them doing all the work for 300 something years.
So if you let them compete equitably, they're going to dominate us. Right. In other words, the white man saw Black Wall Street before Black Wall Street happened. They saw Black Wall Street before Black Wall Street happened.
Yeah.
So they said, you know what we're going to do? We're not giving black folks no jobs. We're going to turn them into a permanent underclass. Bring the Chinese in here. That's how Chinatown started. Bring the Chinese in here. Let them build the railroads. Let them take the petty jobs. George Bush did the same thing in the year 2000. Bring the Mexicans in. Let the Mexicans take over the black folks. You follow what I'm saying? Now they got the Ukrainians and the Afghanis. Bring in anybody except them. And why can they not let you get power? Why would they rather let Chinese, and you know how America feels about China, why would they rather let the Chinese get a foothold in America than black folks? Because you're the only non-white people in this country who cannot be deported. If I want to get rid of black folks, I got to kill them. I can't send you back to Botswana. I can't send you back to Namibia. I can't send you back to South Africa because slavery destroyed your spiritual, psychological, cultural connection to your native homeland. Right. I can't send black people back to them. Most black people don't think they even from there. Yeah. So if I want to get rid of these
what
Negroes,
the guy say on Boys in the Hood, I ain't from Africa, I'm from Crenshaw Mafia.
You follow me? So how do you get rid of people who don't have an ancestral homeland that they can be exported to? You got to kill them from within. And that's why they're doing everything they can to get rid of black folks. And let us be clear, gentlemen, this is no longer about suppression and oppression. This is about genocide and extermination. Nothing is being done to control blacks. It's being done to kill blacks. We are in the final frontier.
You brought up sports. I want to talk about some different sports figures because there's been a lot of hot topics in the media and culture around different sports people as it relates to, you know, blackness and culture and stuff like that. What has been the most detrimental part of the establishment trying to paint Kyrie as anti-Semitic for being intellectually curious?
I believe that the Kyrie situation was about making sure black athletes do not become an empowered and weaponized group for the liberation of black America. European Jews cannot allow it. Anglo-Saxons cannot allow it. No white people can allow for the richest group of blacks to suddenly weaponize their minds and their income in the service of their own community. One of the reasons they pay celebrities so much money is to make sure there's a disconnect between them and the neighborhoods that they came from. Because most of our celebrities and athletes, they're first generation millionaires, maybe second generation millionaires. Right. None of them are ninth and 10th generation millionaires because 9 or 10 generations ago, you know what was going on in this country. You follow? Yeah. So their thing is, how do we keep these Negroes in their place and make sure that they don't catch the woke flu? You understand? Because the woke flu was going around. And we can't have basketball players and football players and rappers catching woke flu because they actually have capital that can be transformed and weaponized into instruments of wealth for struggling black communities. So the Kyrie situation was more about teaching him his place. And we see that obviously because even though Amazon and Jeff Bezos have made millions of dollars off of the Hebrews to Negroes documentary, they've never been accused of being anti-Semitic. They've never been accused of being against European Jews, being against human rights. They've never been accused of being an enemy of the ADL. They haven't had their character assassinated in the media. So that's why I spoke of, contextual morality, selective morality, where it's bad if Kyrie tweets the video, but it's perfectly okay for Amazon to sell it. That's a contradiction. And that lets you know that this was not about anti-Semitism. This was about keeping black men in their place.
Yeah, that was the part for me that burnt me out. When I saw that it played in Shaq's theater and the fact that Bezos came out was like, oh, we're not taking it down. I'm just like, huh? Yeah. Like
and the leader of the ADL said we wrote him a letter.
Yeah, we wrote him a letter.
Put it in the mail. We went to the mail, dropped him a letter in the mail.
Nah, it's okay for white people to do it. Donald Trump made comments that could be considered anti-Semitic. They didn't cancel him either because it's about white power. At the end of the day, they all need each other. Let us be very clear about something. White people are not lost on the fact that the United Nations and the World Population Council, which is run by the Rockefellers, are predicting them to be 7% of the world's population by 2050. 7%.
Oh, wow.
They're already only about 10 now. Mm-hmm. They're going to shrink even more. So what does racism do whenever their numbers get low? They have to recruit another group to give them some strength. And I believe that this current lawsuit that I discussed going on between the Asians financed by the whites against Harvard and the University of North Carolina to remove race as a factor in college admissions, I believe that this is a tactic to anoint Chinese as the new probationary whites in America. I think the Chinese American is conservative enough and loyal to America enough, not more loyal to America than China, but
Right.
loyal to America enough, and they hate black people enough that they make the perfect probationary white group in this country. I think they're going to hop, skip over the Mexican and go to the Chinese. And the reason I think they're going to hop and skip over the Mexican and go to the Chinese is because a lot of white people detest the Mexican people for various reasons.
And Chinese people have a large wealth base also.
Oh, they absolutely do. When you look at the Chinese on paper, they are as close to white as any other group that you can get.
Yeah.
And a lot of that has to do with the fact that they're living off of intergenerational wealth that they've been allowed to accumulate since the end of slavery, while we have been being held black. And also keep in mind that the Chinese once sued in court to be considered white people anyway. They went into court in America and said, our skin is almost as pale as you guys. Yes, we're considered the yellow people, okay, but some of us are just as pale as white people are, so why not consider us as white? I think they're going to make the Chinese the new probationary white group, because with their numbers shrinking, just like on the plantation, they recruited more house Negroes. So white folks are not as concerned about their numbers shrinking. They've always been a small group. They just have to make sure they have another group that's willing to ride or die for them to keep black people in their place, and I think it's going to be the Asians.
It's crazy when you think about it. Like, a lot of projections say that their economy is going to be number one by 27. The Chinese economy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I can see it. And as long, but what the white man is going to do, he has to control the amount of Chinese who they allow to actually become economically strong like that, because they can't let the Chinese power overtake the white power. So even though they're going to anoint them as the next probationary group, they have to hold their numbers in place so they don't get out of hand. Yeah. Because remember, Chinese are still a threat at the end of the day.
So basically, they're going to anoint them so they can keep them in check.
Anoint them to keep us in check,
okay,
but they're going to need to keep them in check while they're keeping us in check. I'll give you an idea. You have Chinese stores all around every black ghetto, right?
Every
in
single
America.
one.
Why you don't find a single Chinese store in a white suburb?
Because they're not even going for that. You can't
White
even,
folks not letting them do
you
it.
can't you can't even put one
exactly.
up.
So here's what. here's what.
Town hall meeting.
Exactly.
Boot to ass. You can't even put one up.
You can't put one up. Here's the one thing black people need to understand, and non-white groups, I think, do understand. We're going to let you get your hustle on, but only at the expense and detriment of black America. You're not getting your hustle on against white America. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're not hustling us. You're not taking our revenue. White folks ain't going for that. The white dollar is the stingiest dollar in America. You understand me?
Yeah.
But we will let you hustle blacks. Every group that come to America, they take them straight to the ghetto and say, there you go, get your hustle on.
Yeah, get your brick and mortar, whatever you want to
do in the black community, you can do it. Stop and go, weed, sales, whatever you want to do, but don't think you're coming to a white suburb. And they know that. Everybody knows we are here to replace black people. We are here to step on black people. Everybody knows that.
It's like, you want to argue against it, but it's so real.
It's so blatant.
It's so blatant.
Like I was in Exton last week or whatever the case may be. I ordered some food from this place. I ordered from Han Dynasty. Exton, very white, affluent, city, suburb, whatever you want to call it, or whatever the case may be. Their quote unquote Chinese store is in a strip mall. It ain't on no corner store or nothing like that. And I'm pretty sure like Steven Starr or somebody white owns Han Dynasty. Like it's just one of them things to where it's like, even when it is a quote unquote Chinese store, white folks own it.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Like I was out Orland and Drescher the other day, and I'm riding around. I'm saying to myself, like, yo, there are no like hookah supply stores. It's like there ain't no store with 10-foot hookahs. Aussie hookahs just
ain't nothing low vibrational around this joint.
But as you get closer and closer to the hood, hookahs everywhere, beer everywhere. This shit is nuts.
And
man.
a part of it is our fault too, gentlemen, because again, we're colorblind. Remember that? We are multicultural to a fault. And because of that, we don't take ownership of our community. Our color is not a natural barrier to access to our dollar. Every other group, the color of their skin, yellow, red, brown, white, is a natural barrier that prevents outsiders from accessing their dollar. The black community is the only community where our color is not a natural barrier. When you get to a Jewish community, I can't hustle here.
No.
You get to a Chinese community, I can't hustle.
How crazy! I say it all the time. Like, no bullshit. Asian guy can come around with Air Max and a Gucci sweatshirt. Motherfuckers like, oh, he cool as shit.
Yeah.
He just around.
Yeah.
Ain't that let him
You
say
cannot
nigga?
put on wooden sandals and go to China and Japan and just walk around and be in the mix.
Brother,
that shit is the truth.
Black religion, and I want to be careful with my words because I'm not against black religion. I'm a descendant of preachers, okay? Mm-hmm. But socially and politically, I'm not talking about the words of the Bible, the belief in Jesus or Muhammad or Allah. I'm talking about the social indoctrination of Muslims and Christians by African-American imams and pastors has been to the detriment of our community. They have demilitarized us psychologically, whereby we are not selfish about the success of our people. You have to be selfish about the success of your people if you're going to make it in a competitive society. And black people are so disarmed when it comes to race that anybody can come and walk on us and use us and exploit us, and we don't even care. We're not ashamed of giving our money to red people. We're not ashamed of giving our money to brown people, of giving our money to yellow people or white people. We're not even guilty. If you ever seen Chinese, if a Chinese is working on a construction site in a black community, he might be hungry, dead hungry. He's not shopping in your store. He will wait till work is over, find a Chinese restaurant, and give him his dollar.
Yeah.
Because they understand how important economic empowerment is to the survival of their community. We don't. The black dollar is the only colorblind dollar in America. It touches everybody else's hand, but nobody else's money likes to touch your hand. Look at us now. We in Christmas. How the hell we in Christmas when we ain't got no independent? I don't think there's a single independent black school in the city of Philadelphia. I don't think there's a single independent black, I'm not talking about no homeschool.
Right.
A real brick and mortar learning institution for black children that is not financed in any part by a white bank, the U.S. government, or white philanthropists. I don't think there's one.
I don't think so either.
And this is the 6th largest city, one of the most relevant when it comes to independent black education, because the black charter school movement was birthed in Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. We have more charter schools than any other city in the country, and you don't have a single independent school in this country. But look at what we're doing. A few blocks from now, Negroes is all in that mall, the fashion district, buying every piece of garbage that they sell to put under a tree, and 2 weeks after Christmas, most of the stuff you bought for Christmas, nobody will even be using it.
That's crazy.
Economic holocaust.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. In business and political spaces, what do you think about them and whoever them may be using buzzwords like person of color and minority to hijack black movements?
In order to destroy black America, I have to convince black America to identify with all non-white people. I know that none of the other non-white groups could give a damn about black America.
Yeah.
I know they hate them as much as white people do. But if I can convince black America to identify with all non-whites, I can empower the non-whites under the disguise of people of color. I can empower the non-whites under the disguise of multiculturalism. I can empower the non-whites under the umbrella of non-white people. And while I'm empowering the Chinese, the Arabs, the Puerto Ricans, the Mexicans, the Latinos, the East Indians, I could be stepping on black people and nobody would even know, because black people are now part of a new identifier, people of color. The worst thing we can do is allow ourselves to be lost in the sauce of a multicultural, colorblind approach to racism and structural inequity. We must stick out like a sore thumb. I'll give you a quick parallel. Let's go to France. I spoke in France a few times. Guess what the French government did to hide the racism against black people in France? And by the way, France has more Africans, black people, than any country in Europe.
Huge African
more
population.
than the UK. Yeah. Most people don't know. Yeah. France has more blacks than London and Britain. You know what they do? They don't keep separate black statistics. In France, if you say, what's the rate of black unemployed?
I don't know.
We don't know because we don't function in groups. We a nation.
Yeah.
This is how they
right,
get you.
right.
We a nation.
So you can't even peep that you disenfranchised because it's no traceable statistics.
Yes. So
that's wicked.
That's kind of what America doing with us, but on a lower level.
Yeah.
They're still keeping stats, but they're keeping stats on people of color. Let me give you an example. Go to City Hall and ask the mayor or your city council and say, what percentage of contracts went to black people this year? You know what they're going to tell you? We gave minorities.
Minority contract.
You see that? We gave minorities 20%.
Yeah.
But how many of them
Was black.
were black? And that's how they hide it, brother. The worst thing we can do is identify as people of color, because people of color don't care about black folks any more than anybody else. Notice the color black is in nobody's rainbow.
And now minority includes women. It includes handicapped, homosexual,
immigrants. Anything is now minority. Remember the civil rights
anything
bill?
that's like not white Protestant is minority.
Exactly. If you're not a WASP, you're a minority. That's how the civil rights bill got hijacked, because the Republicans said, we're not signing this unless you add two groups. We're not passing no laws just for black people. That'd give them too much power.
Yeah.
You must add gender, and you must add sexual orientation. This is how the civil rights bill got passed. They told Lyndon Baines Johnson, we ain't signing this. You're not going to give black people that type of protection. Add gender so white women can steal, and add sexual orientation so homosexuals can exploit it. And that's exactly who benefited more from affirmative action than black people, homosexuals and white women. If it ain't all black, it's worthless. Anytime somebody comes to me and says, Dr. Umar, they about to pass this new bill, is it just for us?
Right.
Because if it's not just for us, it'll be used against us.
I had the same objection, around like the Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, presidential run and everything like that, that they just refused to go on the record and give black people some form of tangible funding or legislation that's for black people.
Never. Let me not say never, because nothing is impossible.
Yeah.
But your Congressional Black Caucus, those 59 Negroes down there, predominantly grandma age, okay, which to me, no disrespect to the elders, we revere our elders in African culture, but elders don't fight wars. If you are an elected black person for the U.S. Congress, you are at war every day for your people's survival.
Absolutely.
You can't be 65 and 75 telling me you down there fighting for me. Hell no.
You're just collecting your paycheck.
Exactly. And most of them been there more than 30 years. There need to be term limits for Congress. Yeah. But you know why they don't want to put term limits for Congress? Because once I find me a good nigga.
Yeah, I know who I can trust.
Yeah.
I ain't trying to have no radical nigga. I ain't trying to have no Dr. Umar come up in this show.
The older you get, you already a sellout. And the older you get, the more lazy and tired you're gonna get. I will pay for your heart transplant, your liver transplant.
Yeah, I need you here forever.
I need you here forever. Exactly. So my point is, if the Congressional Black Caucus starts advocating aggressively for laws just for black people, this can change.
Yeah.
If the Congressional Black Caucus goes to Joe Biden in Congress and say, listen, until we start getting laws just for black folks, we telling our people not to vote. That would start a revolution.
Yeah.
Problem is they own them. So it ain't gonna come from them. It gotta come from us on the grassroots. But what's the problem with the grassroots? Our people are married to multiculturalism. Do you know how many times I try to get black people to understand the importance of putting black people first? I can't do that. That's racist. God loves everybody. You sound like a racist. I'm talking about.
I didn't mean to raise my hand because you was going. You made me think. Is there a difference between Pan-African and pro-black?
Well, if you're Pan-Africanist, you automatically pro-black.
Okay.
But you can be pro-black
and not
necessarily feel that all African people in the world constitute one family.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Pan-Africanism speaks to the black diaspora.
Pan-Africanists have a zoomed out view of the global chessboard. And we're saying, Black America, I need you to take a step back. You're in too close. Zoom out. Mm-hmm. Black Europe, zoom out. Black Caribbean, zoom out. Canada, Australia, Brazil. I need you to zoom out and see that they controlling us globally, all by the same structure.
Yeah, so we need to unite globally in order to get done what we need to get done. Yeah.
Listen, you go to a school where there's a bully, there's a gang in charge, and they run in every classroom in the damn school. Mm-hmm. You trying to fight them by yourself. Yeah. Can you win that?
No, you getting whooped. Soon as you get
joint.
On him, somebody come hit you from the side.
You got to have a team there. And that's where we're messing. Even with the reparations movement, we're going to sabotage that.
Do you think that's a legitimate movement?
I was about to ask, do you think that happens? Like,
is that real or is that political talking points to get black people riled up and at the voter booth?
There is an organization, National Coalitions for Blacks for Reparations in America,
of them, yes.
who I respect. They've been around for a long time. I think they have been drowned out in this conversation, although they have been the most consistent and have put in the most work for reparations. I think they've been drowned out by this recent wave of YouTubian social media opportunists who are trying to hijack the narrative in the conversation for personal, selfish, financial reasons. I'm bringing it up to say reparations is a legitimate movement. It is as old as slavery. The first reparationists were Pan-Africanists. It was born of the Pan-African movement. We've always had a fight for reparations since slavery. Now, this new age social media reparations conversation, I think, takes away from the seriousness and the integrity of the original reparations movement, because I think it's too much focus on, I want some money right now. Mm-hmm. I don't think the people carrying the conversation right now are concerned about the long-term health of Black America. Yeah. When I go on social media, I keep saying, people say, I need some money. So they're not thinking about slavery. They're not thinking about reparations. They damn sure not thinking about Black community reconstruction. They just want some money like a PPP loan.
Yeah,
they see reparations as a PPP loan. And you know what they're going to do with it? They're going to take that money right to white people.
Yeah, put it on FanDuel.
Same day.
Same day. Yeah. And get them a car and a Louis belt and some new weave.
Yeah, they're going to have Lambo trucks parked in front of Grandma's house.
And this is why the new Jack social media reparations flunkies, they take issue with me when I say that if I were in charge, reparations does not get distributed to this generation of Blacks. Because when I look at 21st century Black America from the year 2000 to 2023, right? We 23 years now, and we're the first fifth of the 21st century is over. It's ours. Mm-hmm. Can somebody tell me what have we achieved in the first fifth of the 21st century?
Nothing. We still got a collective $0 wealth base.
Have we changed anything? Have we fought for anything?
No.
Have we built anything? Have we changed anything? So let me give you, we the laziest group of Black folks that ever existed. I'm just going to keep it a buck. Mm-hmm. We are the laziest, most self-hating group of Black people that ever existed. And you're the ones who want reparations? So we're supposed to trust you to use this money for the reconstruction of Black America when all you care about is yourself? We don't get the reparations, bruh. We can continue to articulate it, formulate it, put it on paper, but the distribution got to come later when there's a more responsible, more racially loyal and conscious group of Black folks. If we got that money today, y'all know we would destroy it tomorrow.
Man,
do you have any doubt in your mind that we waste that money?
Reparations on Monday,
bro.
Money going on Wednesday.
Bro, why do you want reparations?
You making it to Wednesday?
Nah,
you went to sleep?
Bro.
We out here balling, eh?
I go to sleep Thursday.
It's a party at the mall. You missing it.
Sad. Nobody's looking. They not looking at the
That goes to my question from earlier. Like, the togetherness that we had, that was a real thing. That's what my grandfather always speak about, the togetherness. Yes. We cared about our community. Yes. True story, my grandfather, he just passed away. He was 99. And my grandfather would go out and try to clean up the block. He would still go out, because that was the thing. He was like, yo, back in the day, everybody came out. But as the older people started dying off and the younger people started getting, it's like, he's 92 and the only one outside that willing to sweep up the front. The young people just like, yo, Mr. Wall, you be doing too much. He's like, doing too much. This is ours.
Live here.
We're like, what?
I will clarify. In defense of the youth per se, when the crack and the AIDS weapons hit us in the 80s.
Definitely weapons.
So the 70s was economic destruction of the Black community. They took all the factory jobs out the community, and they took all the industrial building trade skill programs out the high schools. Yep. So the 70s was the decade of making the Black man financially useless to the Black woman. 1980s was chemical warfare and biological warfare. Crack and AIDS. When crack and AIDS hit the Black community, and it's no coincidence they hit us together. You know why? Because through the intravenous drug users, they was able to put the AIDS in those things and pass the AIDS on through the drug use. So crack and AIDS had to come together to intensify the Holocaust. When crack and AIDS hit the Black community, that was the disintegration of Black community unity and oneness. We never got it back yet. And that's when the Black people who were socially mobile and upward, our Black middle class, that's when they abandoned us. That's when the black middle class said, you know what? This is going to take too much sacrifice, too much commitment to try to save the black community. I'm not really committed to it anyway. I was raised by my parents to do what? Get a good job, get an education, and get the hell out. So the 80s is when the black middle class abandoned the black inner city forever, and they never came back. And the elders who stayed behind, they did not educate the children to understand what was being done to us. So that means that the crack in the AIDS era was the era of black community social disintegration. We never functioned as a community again since the 80s.
That's real. My grandfather said, like, back in the day, you didn't have to worry about your next door neighbor breaking into your house. But after
Crack
the 80s, it changed everything.
Because after
you got
crack,
9 locks on your door for the people that live on your street.
After crack, it wouldn't be the same no more because people are breaking in your house. They're breaking in your car. You understand me?
Yeah.
Your daughter is giving a blowjob to the pastor. You feel me?
Yeah.
For some money for crack. It destroyed our trust. It destroyed our harmony. And even now, everything we're dealing with is the aftershock of the crack and AIDS crisis of the 80s. That was one bomb greater than anything else America did, greater than a homosexual war, greater than the multicultural war, greater than the economic devastation. Crack and AIDS in the 80s and all the problems that it caused put us where we are. If there's no crack and AIDS in the 80s, you don't get a teenage pregnancy epidemic like you have because the fathers are still there. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Look at all the problems we got. And if you don't get teenage mothers in the 80s, you don't get these young brothers killing each other right now. They are the children and grandchildren of the teenage mothers who were born of crack and AIDS devastation.
I was going to say the crime bill comes from
then they hit us with mass incarceration and the crime bill right after that.
They never gave black America a chance to breathe. And this is why I'm so bothered by athletes and entertainers. I wish I could get all black celebrities in a room for 2 days and give them a crash course on black America since slavery so they can speak more intelligently about social justice issues, because a lot of them are selling us out, albeit not always intentionally, because they don't know the political history. You follow me? And they're giving out opinions that reinforces white America's narrative of what they want the world to think about black people, because they don't know what happened and how it happened. And so I need the athletes and entertainers to either pass the mic and stop giving your opinion on issues in the black community, or learn about what happened so you can speak more intelligently about it, because many of them are screwing up our narrative.
Getting every black celebrity in a room for 2 days would be insane. They'd be bugging that like the mob in Appalachia. Like that would be insanity.
And unfortunately, you probably have to have security there.
Yeah.
Because we don't know how to get along.
No.
You know what I mean? The jealousy, the competition, the hate. And that's one thing that we have to change as a people, in addition to the systems that we have to build and the systems we have to fight against. We have to change the climate of competition in the black community.
Unhealthy competition.
Unhealthy competition in the black community. And I would almost argue
Clap that up.
that most competition is unhealthy, because our culture is based on collaboration and consensus.
Yeah.
Our culture, when the white man came to Africa and he tried to buy off the chiefs and buy off the queen mothers of the village, they said, you can't pay us. And the white man said, why? I'm going to pay you. They said, everything we do here is done on consensus. So even if I try to go against it, it ain't going to mean nothing, because everything is done
I'm just one man.
Yeah. So the white man said, damn, they don't move out until they all agree that it's time to move out.
Yeah.
So we can't even pluck them apart.
Right.
And that's how tight we were as a community. You know, in traditional Africa, the smallest unit of existence is not the individual, it's the family.
Yeah.
The last name phenomenon, that's ours. That's why everybody got a last name. Because in Africa, the last name was the only name that mattered. When you met people, you introduced yourself by your last name. First name was almost irrelevant.
Yeah, we'll get to that later.
Right, what's the family? It's about what's the family, but look at us now. We're strung out on this radical European individualism that not even a European practices. We are more selfish than he is. Which takes me to a Marcus Garvey quote, when Marcus Garvey said, if the black man and woman are not careful, you will drink in all the poison of Western civilization and die from the effects of it.
It's interesting that you said. I was watching this video the other day. This YouTuber, they went to like a third world country, somewhere like right off of Papua New Guinea, but it's people who are still like relatively like native to their land and don't exist with the outside world or whatever. But they came there in their boats and they were trying to like get food and stuff. And they was like, yo, we got money to, and they was like, we don't even know what money is. And they had to take them inland to meet like their tribal leaders. And once they approved it, then they like took them to dinner and the land and all that. It's just like, yeah, like what we gonna do with the $30? We don't care.
And why did they not need the money? The reason they didn't need the paper currency is because most pre-European societies, all basic necessities required for survival were guaranteed by the people. Yeah. So a place to live was guaranteed. Food, clothing, and shelter was guaranteed. Why do I need money to buy food when the land is only owned by God? Central to African and thereby most ancient societies, because we taught them all, the land is owned by God. Nobody can own land. You follow what I'm saying? Yeah. Land is too sacred. Land is God. So if the food comes from the land, why do I have to pay for the food? If the house is made from the materials of the land, why do I have to pay for the house? Do you see that?
Yeah.
So when the white man came with his monetary system, we like, wait a minute. There were monetary systems, but you didn't need to buy necessities. You feel me?
Yeah.
You buy non-necessities. Necessities were guaranteed. That's why there was no old folks home. There was no jail. You follow me? There was no homeless shelter because nobody was homeless. Nobody threw their elders out. Nobody broke the law. Crime is a function of not having your basic needs met. And the issue with European capitalism is capitalism by design is based on the ownership of the means of production by the few. Land is a means of production. You see that? Mm-hmm. So when the few own everything and the many have to work for the few to make a few dollars to give it back to the few for food, clothing, and shelter, that's economic slavery. Let's take America. In the United States of America, the top 10% own more wealth than the 90. I'm talking black and white.
And it's growing. The disparity is growing.
Oh, it's growing. Let's go globally. Globally, the top 20% own more than the bottom 80.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Africa, the richest continent, not a single one of those top 10 are in Africa, but they own the resources in Africa. Capitalism has to be destroyed. And this is why I do agree with my socialist brothers and sisters. But where I disagree with my socialist brothers and sisters, capitalism is not the parent of racism. This is where the nationalists and the socialists part ways. As a nationalist, we say racism invented capitalism. You can get rid of capitalism, but you'll still have racism. China is communist. They racist as hell.
Yeah.
Russia is communist. They racist as hell. So your economic model does not eliminate racism because racism for white people is a function of what? White genetic survival. Yeah. And what is more important to white people than money and power? Survival.
Yeah.
And that's why those of us who are nationalists disagree with the socialists because the socialists are not looking at the impact of racism. They're only looking at the impact of capitalism. You see that?
Absolutely.
And that's where we differ. And that's why they don't have a contradiction in dating and sleeping with white women. You know, you'll see brothers with the red, black, and green with a white girl, so you automatically know they're not a nationalist. Right. Because Garvey, we don't do that. So you say, wait, this
right on.
He got the red, black, and green. On. You know what I mean? With Dr. Umar, he got the white girlfriend. What's going on? Because he's a socialist. To them, there's no contradiction to sleep with the white woman because the enemy ain't white supremacy. The enemy is capitalism. Yeah. They're wrong. The enemy is racism and her child, capitalism.
I want to show you a picture.
You brought it up. Let's get into
I want to show you a picture. Mm-hmm. This is not pre-scripted or preempted. I haven't showed him this picture yet. Dan, make sure you put this picture on the screen when we show it to him. When you look at this picture from the New York Knicks holiday party, what do you think?
I saw it. Disgusting. A snow bunny bazaar. Absolutely disgusting.
Only person with a sister was the white boy.
Well, he's from the Ukraine. That's the boy Slio. I can't pronounce his name.
Okay.
He played at Kansas, and then he was at I think he was in Chicago, but he just signed with the Knicks. But yeah, he's the only one, the Ukrainian. Yeah. He got a black girlfriend.
What was your thoughts when you first saw that picture?
I wasn't surprised, and I was disgusted because every black person in the pic, including the black girl, is with a white person. Somebody tweeted, somebody text me. Somebody text me.
It's like a rap DVD bar.
Somebody texted me and they said, Dr. Umar, in 20 years, the whole NBA gonna look like Steph Curry.
They actually have a thing going on now where they showing that by 2050, the interracial thing is going to be more than everybody else. That's like a projection, and everybody looks like that. But here's what
black people get wrong. We think that by lightening up our skin through interracial reproduction, we are weakening racism or somehow weakening
wiping it off.
Their aggression towards destroying us. A light-skinned African is still a African. Still is undesirable. Still must be exterminated. So you're not changing nothing. Go ask W.E.B. Du Bois. He's an ancestor, right? But he really felt that if we get light enough, maybe this thing stops. No, it don't. Black is black. No matter what your skin tone is, you still are the original man and woman, and you can still reproduce a darker baby at any time. So they still got to get rid of the Barack Obamas of the world. But the problem with the mixed race African is historically they have been used as a weapon against the darker African. This is not automatic. I'm not saying that because you're mixed race or light skin, you hate darker black people. No.
Yeah.
You understand me? But historically, you're more likely to be brainwashed into doing so because you share blood with the oppressor and the oppressed. That automatically creates some psychological confusion that the power structure can use to turn you into a weapon against your own people. Generally speaking, people identify with the blood that has power. So if my father is white and my mama is black, but I see that white people own everything, who I want to identify with? White folks. If my mama white and my father black, but I see that my mama people owning everything, I'm going to want to side with them. And that's why I'm very cautious around mixed race Africans who like to be called biracial instead of black. Because when you tell me you would rather be called biracial instead of black, you're telling me that you don't want to identify.
You lean into the other side.
You're on the fence.
You're on the fence. Yeah.
And you want
whoever got the best deal for me, that's where I'm going.
If this longer approves, I'll let you know.
That's what I'm saying. If the white side got something I can use,
I'm over here.
I'm over here. But next week, if the black side get reparations, I'm over there.
Yeah.
So you got to be careful with the mixed race. I'm biracial. Ain't no such thing as biracial. You wouldn't even be using the word if the government didn't add it to the census back in 2010. I think they did either 2000 or 2010. They added the word biracial. So what was you before that? You was black.
You had to pick a side back then.
Pick a side. That's what I tell mixed race Africans. If you don't want to be black, I'm not going to force you, but please stay on the other side. Don't flip-flop with me.
Yeah.
In the biracial thing, if you want to be called biracial, I'm not even messing with you. You want to be called black, we good.
I don't think anybody's ever asked you this. What do you think about someone like Harry Belafonte, lighter-skinned black gentleman, historically has been married to and dated white women, but also did a lot for black people in the civil rights movement through eras up until now? What do you think about someone like him and, you know, kind of like this mixed bag of different attributes that he has to where some things are for us, some things are kind of against
99 and some things and a 62 and others.
Excellent question. Here's what I want to say about Harry Belafonte. His complexion is irrelevant because I see all black people as equal.
Okay.
Whether they're as light as you, as dark as me, one people. I don't ascribe to light skin supremacy. I don't ascribe to dark skin supremacy. So the complexion is irrelevant. However, it can be considered in social and political discourse, right? I believe Harry Belafonte is a light-skinned supremacist. I believe that he values light-skinned black people more than dark-skinned black people, as you see from his dating history. And although I appreciate his contributions to Dr. King in the civil rights era, I believe Harry Belafonte was principally fighting for upper black, middle class black celebrities, snow bunny blacks, and light-skinned blacks to get better access to white society. I do not believe Harry Belafonte's personal contributions were so much about helping all black people as it was about helping the black aristocracy. I'm going to give you a parallel.
Okay.
When black celebrities vote, when black millionaires vote, when black athletes vote, they're not voting for you.
Absolutely not.
They're not voting for us.
They're voting for their personal
They're
interests.
voting for their class.
Yeah.
You follow me? They're voting for their class.
Gotta
But
get
what
these
they
tax
have to
breaks.
do, because most of us are on the bottom, grassroots, they have to convince grassroots that we're doing this for you. But the only people who benefits is their group. I believe Harry Belafonte would fit into that group, who looks like I'm fighting for all black people.
But in reality,
I'm fighting for the black upper class. And that is not only true for Harry Belafonte, it's been true for most black celebrities, athletes, and entertainers. Dick Gregory is an exception. I believe Dick Gregory fought for everybody. You understand me?
Yeah, he laid it all on the
James
line.
Baldwin fought for everybody. Harry Belafonte was a black bourgeoisie. I never met him personally. Okay, may God forgive me if my assessment is incorrect, but from what I've seen from him and others like him, their fight was for the black upper class. It was not a fight for all black people. It was passed off as a fight for all black people to guarantee you went to the polls and cast your vote. You think the Congressional Black Caucus is fighting for all black people? Or are they simply fighting for the black upper class, but they're trying to convince you that it's for you, so you cast your vote?
Yeah, they're fighting for their
That's all
donor
elections
base
is.
and things like that.
If you want to operationally define the black vote, black electoral politics is the art of the black upper class convincing the black lower class that they share the same struggle, so that the black lower class will vote for members of the black upper class to improve their proximity to white power. And anybody who disagrees with me, I ask you one question. What have we ever got for our vote?
Well, 2 Chainz performed up there.
Perform them different.
Yeah, we got a 2 Chainz concert. Got a sticker.
yeah.
Listen, what have we ever got for our vote? Do you realize everything we got
a
is fought
sticker.
for?
That's real.
What have we got for our vote?
Yo.
What have we got for our vote? The Obama maniacs. I ask them all the time, give me one thing we got for Barack Obama becoming president. Not one tangible. You know what they would give me? Psychological victories. Ain't nobody gave me no tangible.
Yeah.
Because it ain't no tangible.
Yeah.
Well, don't you think it was a good thing that black kids saw a black man and a black woman in the White House? Okay. If that benefited black children, show me a statistic where black children did better
Right.
because 2 black people was having sex in a white man's bed. Show me that. You
They
feel me?
can't.
Did graduation go up? Did jobs go up?
Yeah,
did violence go down?
Did standardized test scores go up?
Nothing. It was bullshit. It was a victory for the black bourgeoisie to improve their proximity to white power, man. If voting could change anything, voting would be illegal.
Switching gears a little bit, I want to start landing the plane a little
Yes,
bit.
sir.
We're gonna
Yes, sir.
start bringing this
And
home.
before you do, just to throw it out to your listeners, make sure you support Frederick Douglass Marcus Garvey Academy. We
Absolutely.
can use your help, your donations. Hit your Cash App, $FDMG School. I repeat, $FDMG School. We are a tax-exempt organization, so you can claim your contributions on your returns. For my international Africans and my PayPal Africans, use PayPal. FDMG Academy on PayPal, FDMG School on the Cash App. Please beware of the fake accounts. They're everywhere. If you're not sure if it's the right account, go to my website, drumarjohnson.com, and click on the Cash App and the PayPal from the website, or text me directly, 215-989-9858, 215-989-9858 for the right information.
We had some football on television yesterday.
Real quick, before we go, so you just made me think about it, because I don't know why, but this week, you got the do you celebrate any Kwanzaa, any of that type stuff?
I partake in Kwanzaa. I stopped short of saying celebrate, but I partake in Kwanzaa because I recognize the psychological benefit of conscious and woke Africans needing some sort of a celebratory event and holiday of their own where they can come together and practice fellowship with one another.
Okay.
So I partake in the Kwanzaa. There are people who have issues with Kwanzaa because Kwanzaa is not an African holiday. It is a creation of Dr. Malana Karenga However, he took aspects of different African holidays and created the Kwanzaa, which I can respect.
Yeah.
My biggest concern with Kwanzaa is it does not have an economic component to it, and I don't like the fact that it was juxtaposed during the European holiday season. In other words, no disrespect to Dr. Karenga, but you can look at Kwanzaa as an extra 7 days for the white business to get money from black people.
Real.
Do you feel where I'm coming from?
I feel it, yeah.
And so I would have much rather preferred it was at another time. And if it's going to be during Christmas, I see what he's saying. Let me put it right there because it's already the holiday season, which, of course, in hindsight, you can see everything 2020. But I just think Kwanzaa has become too mainstream at this point to really be beneficial to a people now.
That's a great point. Kwanzaa's super mainstream
I didn't realize
now.
it was as mainstream as it is, but it really is.
And now with the mainstreaming of Juneteenth by Joe Biden when he made it a federal holiday, Kwanzaa is even going to be more mainstream than it was ever been before because all the black organizations who took federal money for Juneteenth, they're going to have to let white folks participate in their Kwanzaas now. And Dr. Karenga himself, if the reports are correct, he even said that although white people cannot lead a Kwanzaa celebration, they can still participate. As far as I'm concerned, once he said that, he integrated Kwanzaa because white people outnumber black people 5-1. So if you're going to let them participate in anything, they're going to dominate and take it over.
Yeah, it's going to be their holiday
It's
at the
going
while.
to be their holiday. It's going to be that. If my enemy can participate in my own sacred rituals, then that ritual is no longer sacred. And one of the problems I have for black America, I don't think we have anything sacred.
Yeah, we're too inclusive.
We're too inclusive. That's colorblind multiculturalism dictated by the church. A people who don't have anything sacred are a people without respect. Jews have things that only Jews can participate in.
Absolutely.
Irish got things. Native Americans, everybody got something. If you ain't one of us, you can't access it.
Yeah, it's quiet for you if you're not one of us.
Can you name one thing black people have?
No, it's come on. We got a
has?
come one, come all policy on everything.
How you gonna get respect like that? Y'all been the worst treated people in world history, and you refuse to keep anything to yourself. You even got white people practicing African voodoo. How the hell did you become a white priest of voodoo? The brothers of the Haitian Revolution turning over in their grave. We use this to destroy white power. And y'all gonna let them stay in.
Like, come on, man. Get you an internship.
Go to New Orleans. Go to New Orleans. And of course, New Orleans voodoo is different from Haitian voodoo, which is different from the original African voodoo. But guess what? You go to New Orleans, go to New York City. There's white voodoo priests in New York City.
That's crazy.
Real quick, that was a serious question. We answered good. I got a play around question. You mentioned Cash App. Did Sister Avanti ever kick up more than the $10?
Who is that?
Remember you did the whole thing. Sister Avanti, next time $10 on the Cash App.
Oh, the sister. Yeah. I don't know. Because I didn't know her personally. Yeah, I didn't know her personally, yeah.
Hopefully she got up more than $10 on the Cash App.
I hope so. Yeah. But I'm thankful.
Yeah.
Because it's been those $5 and them $10 and them $20.
They add up.
That got us to where we at. You know what I'm saying?
Crowdfunding as a mother is powerful.
Yeah. Because we started in 2014, right? And so people say, why did it take so long? Well, first of all, it takes time to build institutions. I know charter schools that took 10 years, and that's public money. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. But it take a while for fives to add up, for tens to add up. But guess what? They do add up.
Yeah.
So this whole fundraiser for FDMG has taught me the power of the single black dollar. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And, and right now, for your listeners as well, we at the brink of completion. We are literally
That's
at
beautiful.
the brink of
Clap that
completion.
up.
And so I'm hoping probably not by the end of this month because Christmas, stuff starts shutting down. Mm-hmm. But I'm hoping by the end of January, if we don't have all of our inspections done and certificate of occupancy given by L&I, I'm going to be angry. You know what I mean? Because we should. And if we're done, there's a strong chance we're going to have our community grand opening the last Saturday of Black History Month, this February.
So you basically targeting, being functional for 2023 school year?
Still yet to be decided.
Okay, got it.
Because here's the thing. Once we finally get that COO, right? Because we can't let nobody in until we got that. Mm-hmm. Start having it. Once we get the COO, I got to look at exactly when we get that to next August 2023. Mm-hmm. Can I get everything done I need to be done in these 8 months.
Yeah.
You follow me? It might be a bit of a push. Do you feel me?
I feel you.
8 months is not a lot of time because now I got to get the uniforms up. I got to get the bus contracts. You follow me? It's a lot to be done. Honestly, let's say this. We know we good for August of 2024.
Gotcha.
You feel me? We know we good for that. Possibility of August of 2023. I'm even flirting with the idea of January 2024. You feel me? Yeah. Now, that's the middle of the year.
Yeah.
But still doable.
Students transfer all the time.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying.
Because you got to worry about enrollment. That's another big issue.
Yeah. I'm looking. Now, I think we're going to be blessed with enrollment because we're going to start with 2 classes per grade, right? So we're going to do second, third, and fourth. 2 second, 2 third, 2 fourth.
So was it K through 12?
In the end.
In the end, okay.
So the second year, we're going to go up and down a grade. So if we 2 through 4 year 1, we 1 through 5 year 2.
Gotcha.
We kindergarten through 6 year 3. We pre-K through 7 year 4. We daycare through 8 year 5. And then we flush out the high school across
That's
the
a
street.
solid plan. That's
So that gives us 5 years to get that high school together.
Gotcha.
The high school is much bigger, bigger. It's going to take more renovations.
Can I ask, do y'all have the actual location and all that already?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, he locked in. They got contractors and everything.
We've already had 2 festivals.
Oh, okay.
The second Saturday of every September is the fest.
Oh, nice.
So y'all need to come next September.
Oh, for
the
sure.
third fest. You know
We
what I'm
there.
saying? So we got the actual location, and we got 2 schools. They right across the street from each other.
Oh, nice.
We working on the elementary, and then we're going to flip over to the high school. The elementary is the Marcus Garvey building. The high school is the Frederick Douglass building. Yes, sir. And so what we're looking at now is the small gym, which is next to the small school. It's 4 buildings altogether.
Okay.
And so the small gym is named in the honor of Jean-Jacques Dessalines, who led Haiti to its independence after Toussaint L'Ouverture was captured and killed by Napoleon in Nat Turner. So that's the Dessalines Turner Gymnasium. And then the Nat Turner School building. Then the Marcus Garvey School building. So that's where we are. But I just thank God we here, but we still got to close the deal.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? But we still
Gotta bring it home.
But we right here. We really right here.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the plumber to tell me we about to get the inspection. I'm waiting for the HVAC to tell me we ready for the inspection. And then once those are done, it's about cleaning up the building now.
Right.
Do them floors, paint them walls, cover up the holes, and let's roll.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
absolutely.
So we right there.
Oh, that's beautiful.
We right there. But I do want everybody to know.
Make sure y'all donate, man.
Make sure you not only make sure you donate, when we have the grand opening, you better have donated because you can't come if you're not a donor. It's only for donors. After 9 years of this hell, you ain't walking in there. You better have donated.
Better be some money on the floor.
A Cash App, a PayPal. And don't forget, you can also mail checks and money orders too, payable to FDMG Academy, P.O. Box 9634, P.O. Box 9634, Wilmington, Delaware 19809 also.
That's what's up.
Beautiful. All right, so starting to land the plane on this. I got some hot topics I want to talk to you about, some social media, some black culturally relevant stuff. So we had some football yesterday. Celebration Bowl, Jackson State University versus North Carolina Central University. It's the last game that Deion Sanders coached.
And it was yesterday.
Yesterday, they lost. They was 12-0. They lost yesterday.
What was the final score?
41-34.
34.
So it was close.
They lost by a
They
touchdown.
went into overtime. They scored 12 in the fourth quarter. They went to overtime. The dude had like a bomb. 7 seconds left. They went to OT, but they just they drove down the field. But the guy dropped the ball in the end zone, and the other team got it. And
Okay.
Yeah, Jackson State looked like a totally unfocused kind of team. They got it together a little bit.
Psychologically, they wasn't there.
I think they was checked out.
Psychologically, they wasn't there.
Second
Although
half,
they
they looked
played,
good.
though. They
Yeah.
did play.
second half they look good.
In retrospect, Deion should have made his announcement at the end of the season. I didn't know the season wasn't done.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
What it was is there's a recruiting window
Yeah, that's the
that
whole thing.
exists between the end of the regular
And that's
season
why
and
he
the bowl
had
game.
to
He
declare.
had
Okay.
to declare. So my question to you was, what was your initial primary objection to Deion leaving JSU for Colorado? And upon any new information you may have gleaned, has your stance softened any since the Breakfast Club
hasn't
interview?
softened any, because I believe the job of the black man is to protect the black community, period. And with Deion Sanders being at Jackson State, I saw that as an opportunity for him to serve as a role model for other ex-NFL and NBA greats to take over the coaching ranks of our 100 and plus HBCU campuses, thereby energize our top-tier black high school athletes to come HBCU instead of PWI, which Deion had already been doing.
Yeah.
And I really saw this as an economic revolution for the HBCU campus, whereby they would not only attract those athletes, but in attracting those athletes, it would generate untold millions of dollars of revenue. Let us be clear. University of North Carolina, Duke, Georgia, all these top tier schools, those football games and basketball games, the merchandise sales, it's what keep a lot of them schools afloat.
Yeah.
It's the black athletes. Why can't the HBCU benefit from its own black athletes? You follow?
I follow.
And I really saw Deion as going down in history as the driver of this economic revolution that brings the black athlete back to the HBCU and turns the white college into a fledgling institutions and the HBCUs into the premier institutions in this country as a result of sports. And he turned his back on it for $5 million a year. I don't cancel him. I don't hate him. He's still one of the greatest athletes of all time, one of my favorite. But in terms of being a black man, in terms of standing up for something that matters, I'm disappointed in the brother.
You know, it's interesting because I had a question I was going to ask you, but you kind of answered it amongst us talking or whatever. Because you're basically against the integration, I guess you would say, of these different things. Because I was going to basically throw this out. You're trying to start your school. You start your school, and it's a great thing that you do, and all these kids are getting these educations and all that. If somebody like a Duke or North Carolina State, hey, yo, Dr. Umar, we offer you to be dean.
No.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You would turn that down.
No, because, and we know this by now after 50 years of integration, you are only a token. Deion Sanders is a token at the University of Colorado. That's all you ever gonna be, a token. Why are we giving up the opportunity to build sustainable institutions for our people, intergenerational value and wealth, to be a token, a pimple on a white man's ass? Are we not yet tired of that? It's like when the black HBCU president leaves the HBCU to be president of the PWI. Nigga, use a token. You'll be there 5 years, maybe 10 years. You ain't gonna be there till you retire. They're gonna hit you with some type of Me Too scandal. You know this is a flash moment, but we value white approval so much that I would rather be a pimple on a white man's ass for 10 years than be a staple in the black community forever.
What do you say to people? Because honestly, we were in support of the move.
Mm-hmm.
What do you say?
I'm still
what do you say to people like us that say there are other economic factors behind the scenes stuff that played a role in him ultimately making this move?
Such as
he has a deal with them because of the way his salary was designed. If I can raise attendance for these football games, there's a sellout bonus and things like that I'm supposed to get. They got this new arena. This new stadium, rather, he got the funding and all of that, got that built, 65,000 people. He's saying he's coming with his representatives to do box office receipts for games. 28,000 tickets are missing. Things like that. There's other situations around the economics of the fact that he gave back 50% of his salary in order to create other things around the university and the campus as far as public safety and stuff like this that didn't happen. So when you consider those factors, does it give him a little bit more of an out with you?
Absolutely not. And the reason it doesn't, since when do you turn your back on a movement for your people because you got ripped off of some money? I'm going to go a step further. Deion's concerns are legitimate. Jackson is not a private institution.
Funded by the state of Mississippi.
Jackson State is a Mississippi institution. So why didn't you go to the Board of Governors? Why didn't you go to the Mississippi State Board of Higher Education? If Deion Sanders was so concerned about being ripped off, why did you not take this to the higher ups in Mississippi? Why did you not do that? Because I believe that was just your excuse to justify your out.
So do you look at it like, let's look at it from this situation. What if he goes to Colorado and excels, and then he basically can bring in different coordinators, different people who can go off and be coaches, and that's more so where I was going to go with you getting a job offer at like a big school to be a dean, and then you hiring a staff or a faculty of more black professors, more black doctors.
My issue with that analysis is you're going back to the justification of tokenism.
Okay.
He's bringing black coaches into white colleges. My question to you, why do we need black coaches at white colleges when we got black colleges who can use black coaches?
I mean, it goes to the point you said.
And on top of that, before you respond, PWIs got a history of racism.
I mean, everything has a history.
Exactly. But check, do you know that PWIs, the top 20 schools, graduate less than 25% of their black athletes?
I wouldn't even think it would be that much.
Wait a minute. You mean to tell me we making you hundreds of millions of dollars? 4 years on the foot, and you don't even get me a degree?
Well, that's where the whole thing came into play with people coming to school for a year and sliding and all of that.
Yes.
Taking basket weaving and stuff like that.
Yes, but the coaches promote that.
Yeah.
I went to Millersville University in Lancaster, PA, D2. You can't get a full scholarship because it's D2. Most of my roommates was football players. Do you know they would come back and tell me, yo, I can't take this class I need for my major? What do you mean you can't take this class I need for my major? Because the coach said I got practice. The coach don't care about the education.
Oh, wow.
And this is D2. So if they telling D2 players, you're not even on a full ride.
Yeah.
If they telling you can't take a class you need, imagine what they doing.
Basically, if you D1, your job is to play football.
No, that's like Calipari says it. Like, I'm running a farm. Like, I don't care if you go here for 4 years. Calipari, like, you one and done for the most part. Did you play it all?
Nah.
Really?
Nah. High school.
I'll be honest. I didn't know.
Honestly,
I didn't think you was as tall as you was.
Everybody.
Yo, you was. I'm like,
Definitely look like you was a hellified small forward.
I'm like Dr. Umar, like Dr. J.
I was the bench player. When they exhausted all other talent on the
They like,
bench,
Umar, get in
get in there. You know what I mean? And I
Use them fouls.
I was
Make
made
them
to
feet
play
move.
because I was big. I was one of them guys who, I'm good. You're not good. You're 6'3". Get over here. I was one of them types, you know what I mean? But back to the point, though. My question for Deion, for me, for you, for every black man.
Yeah.
What is your contribution to our people's liberation struggle? I would have to come back to that because in what you're saying, which a lot of people have brought up, you're giving black men opportunities at a white racist college. And in the case of University of Colorado, with 1.6 black student attendance, damn.
Yeah.
That mean the only people y'all let in
Are the athletes.
How much? And then look at what the black college loses. You know how much money the University of Colorado gonna make off Deion Sanders' name?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be ridiculous.
Could you imagine?
Now,
They don't even care if they win no games at first. They just want to see him on the sideline coaching white people. Do you feel me?
Yeah.
We lose, y'all. We have to look at big picture, best interests of the black community because that's where I come from. To me, the Deion thing is not so much of a disagreement. Mm-hmm. It's more about the priority. What is most at stake here? The destiny and survival of the HBCU or Deion Sanders' bank account? That's which one do you prioritize?
I don't think it's the bank account thing because, like I said, on prom been rich, so I don't think it's necessarily that was the big thing behind it. But when you talk about the contributions,
why not go to another HBCU then?
But when you talk about the contributions, we talked about it. He got a 10-year TV contract for the whole SWAC conference. That's a major contribution.
It is.
He added a weight room. He added a new training facility. He added a new
what happens when he leaves?
Well, that stays.
Yeah, the contract is a 10-year contract, 10-year TV contract with ESPN.
And when the 10 years is up.
Well, yeah, and prom guy, we got to get prom on the phone.
We got to get prom negotiate.
It was there because they anticipated.
Prom on the phone, you want to talk to?
It was there in anticipation that he would be there.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't be surprised if it's something in the contract that says this is conditional on you being. A lot of that stuff leaving. Because if they're not making money, the white man gonna find a way to get out of that. You follow me? Everybody was anticipating him being there a little longer. So some people say, well, wait a minute, Doc, you want him to stay forever? You didn't need to stay forever, but you needed to stay long enough to systematize this process. So the black children are now identifying with the HBCUs. The ex-NFL and ex-NBA greats are now, we now have a pipeline. You retire from the NBA, you come coach at an HBCU for a few years. We could have created a whole system that would have saved this. And I need y'all to understand, just like I told Charlemagne and Envy, what's at stake. You heard me when I talked about the Chinese kids that's suing Harvard and UNC at the Supreme Court level, financed by white folks. They want racial consciousness removed from the admissions process. If they remove racial consciousness from the admissions process, you think University of Colorado got a 1.6 now? Shit, it might be 0.6. Because now they're saying you don't even have to consider if they black or not.
Right.
We built the country.
Yeah. So now it's no diversity initiative.
Bro. So juxtapose the fact that the black college student is being gentrified off the PWI campus. Totally. Right? Juxtapose that with HBCUs that are being shut down all over the country. Add to that, most of our black professionals came from the HBCUs. Do you realize we don't get the teachers we got? We don't have the nurses, the doctors, the lawyers. Without the HBCU, there's no black professional class.
I agree to that.
We're talking about turning black people into a permanent underclass. Is it Deion Sanders' fault that he just so happened to be at Jackson when this happened? No, it's not. But it wasn't Harriet Tubman's fault. She just so happened to have run away from slavery when the Fugitive Slave Bill got passed. It wasn't Frederick Douglass' fault that he just so happened to be in America, at the years just before the Civil War. You are born at a certain time for a reason. Take advantage of that to help your people. And I just think in Deion's case and in the narrative and the conversation around Deion, what I'm most disappointed in is that as black men, we're not seeing the larger picture of what's at stake and what we are losing here. Imagine are the hearts and souls who were crushed by Deion leaving Jackson State. You were a father figure to those boys. I know it ain't your fault to be their dad, but you a black man. That's what we do, sacrifice. He crushed them. I'm not Deion Sanders, but there's a lot of young black men who believe in me.
Right.
If I quit on this school, they gonna be crushed. I had elders send me messages. I'm 85 years old. You the only reason I ain't gave up on black folk. If you don't get the school together, I don't know what the fuck I'm gonna do with my life. Old men, you feel me?
Yeah.
Sometimes we don't know who we give life to, bro. You got to finish that in the cut after 3 years for $5 million and go to a 1.5% black student attendance white college, brothers. That's gonna be a hard pill for me to swallow and be okay with that. And I never will be because it was wrong. Let's do it this way. Let's assemble a panel of ancestors. I'm gonna give you 5 names.
Okay.
Malcolm, Martin, Garvey, Douglas, Fred Hampton. Y'all give them this question. Do they vote Deion innocent or Deion guilty?
You got me.
He's close.
I want to make a joke, but I'm gonna leave Martin out. I'm gonna leave him alone. Like,
Look at what they gave.
Yeah. They gave their lives.
My life.
They gave their lives.
I gave my life, and you can't give us 10 years? Paid. I know it ain't $5 million. It's only $300,000, but let's not act like you sleeping at a homeless shelter with $350,000 a year doing a job you love. Damn, Deion. Is there any sacrifice left in the black man?
No.
Now, let's zoom out on this. Take it away from Deion just a little, but it's still relevant. Our women are looking. I need to read y'all text right now. I just got this coming here today.
Exclusive. Wish I had a bomb.
yeah.
I'm going to read this. I got this coming here today. Y'all ready?
Ready.
Is this from Deion?
It's from an elder.
Oh, okay.
It's from an elder. Screenshot it so it don't click off. Done.
It's like the Umar files.
Okay.
Yeah.
Here we go. I got this on my way here. Just now. Listen to this. Grand Rising, brother Umar. Black men should be bowing down to you. You're the only black man I can think of in recent times who is fearless. Not afraid to speak the truth in the aftermath of that pitiful, embarrassing moment between Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharpe. You are the only black man with the courage to speak up on behalf of the obvious racism we witnessed. What is wrong with our black men? Athletes in particular. Are they so thirsty for a bag that they will subject themselves to being demeaned by white men on national television? No proud black woman who knows her history would ever find these types of men attractive. I just don't understand. With all the money these black athletes have, why they continue to lay down for massa. Please help me understand what I'm witnessing. It hurts my heart to see our brothers always at the mercy of the white man, so spineless. It's almost as if it's a disease that they have. When will our brothers get real? Brother Umar, FDMG is so needed. We can't allow the next generation of black girls to have no black men to choose from for husbands. We must do better. This is from a nurse. This is a middle-aged, successful black professional nurse.
Y'all going to fill me in what happened with Shannon and Skip?
They had an exchange about Tom Brady. As you know, Skip is
a
Brady.
Okay, yeah, all right, yeah.
The way Skip talked to Shannon during that argument, first of all, he made it personal.
Yeah, like
Tom
you ain't
Brady,
shit compared to Tom Brady, yeah.
And then what got me was in the moment of Shannon being so angry, having his diatribe, he takes his glasses off to make his point. Skip says, put your glasses
His back on.
Yeah, that was bad.
He is better than you.
Bro.
He said, I'm in the MF and Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He said, I don't care. He's still better than
I'm
you.
going to be honest with you.
Yeah, that was bad.
I almost thought hands was going to be put on somebody.
Yeah, I thought we had to go to
You just
commercial break.
emasculated me on at least quit.
Yeah.
Because Skip don't make it without Shannon. Shannon is the show. Don't nobody want that old crusty devil. Shannon makes that show. But guess what? He in love with them lights. He took that emasculation, bro. He took it. That shit hurt me. And this is what the sister, I'm reading that. Forget all the other stuff she said about me. That's irrelevant. God works through me, not me working for me. You understand me?
Yeah.
But black women are looking at black men. They looking at Shannon. They looking at Deion. They looking at y'all. Okay, Deion. And they're like, well, damn. When are black men going to sacrifice for the community? Mm-hmm. How we going to love y'all when y'all not fighting for us? Why is money more important than saving the community? And this is coming from a middle-aged black successful nurse, y'all.
Yeah.
You feel me? Respectable sister, she sent that. Our women are hurting because they're watching black men fail to take a stand for them, our children, and our institutions, y'all. It's bigger than Deion, it's bigger than Jackson, it's bigger than Colorado. When do we as men take a stand for our women and communities?
To your Skip and Shannon point, what can we do as a people, black people, to prevent modern day buck breaking?
First of all, let me tell you the mistake that Shannon made. And this is a lesson to every black person watching this conversation. Don't ever let white people get too comfortable with you. You got to watch them relationships because you already know the collective subconscious of white people is racist.
For sure.
If you give them too much room to treat you ordinary, that N-word going to slip out on you. They're going to end up saying something that's going to disrespect you because you gave them that in. You got to keep it business with white people. And I'm going to say all non-blacks because they all share that attitude. You understand me? Mm-hmm. Shannon allowed Ship to get too friendly. And in that friendliness, his true feelings about black people came out. Don't ever let white people get personal with you like that. And they love to do it. You start working at the job, they want to invite you to happy hour. Come with us to lunch. You feel me? And every time they're getting in, they're starting to forget that you're separate from them. You're not their property. And then those racial jokes start. It's a wrap. Once they make a joke, they've lost respect for you. You let them in too much. Keep that shit a buck. Let them know I don't play them racial jokes. I don't do none of that shit.
Right.
When I was on Hell of a Week with Charlemagne, the white comedy boy made a little black joke. I just looked at Charlemagne because I'm like, I'm here for my brother.
Yeah.
But if you get out of hand, I'm going to check the shit out you. You're not going to, you know what I mean? I'm looking like I'm not Shannon.
Yeah.
This is not Skip and Shannon.
Yeah, we're not going to do none
You know
of
what I'm
that.
saying? So Shannon made Skip too comfortable with disrespecting him. We got to watch that with white folks because they always studying us. They always sizing us up because they want to know, is he just another one of these little happy-go-lucky Negroes we can treat like a slave? Or is he one of those backbone brothers?
Yeah,
They always
one of them
studying
Nat
us.
Turner
Yes,
brothers.
One of them Nat, you got to let them know, yes, I'm the Nat Turner brother. You ain't disrespecting no black women. You ain't flirting with none of them in my face. It ain't none of that. Because I had to do that in college. So listen, no disrespect. I don't do the interracial, bro. She got a right to date who she want. Don't do that shit here, though. You feel me? You're not cracking on no black woman in front of me because you want some black coochie. No.
Right.
You know? And
So Cherry Hill Mall is out.
Because that's interracial dating
interracial capital.
headquarters.
Well, no, that's where the whole thing happened with you.
You know what bothered me? You know what bothered me with the Cherry Hill? I'm gonna tell you what hurt me about the Cherry Hill. That the best thing two black men could do was sit at a restaurant and film me from a distance.
Yeah.
You feel me? If it was white folks, it was white folks.
Right.
This was two black men who said, we so tired of him telling us we can't date white.
We'll expose his ass.
That we got to catch his ass.
We got him.
You know what I mean? And then you disingenuous with the footage
Yeah.
because you don't even show what led to her pulling out her phone and pulling me up on
Were they
me.
the same Negroes that came back and
I
interviewed the
didn't see
girl?
who it was.
Okay.
I didn't see the guys. But if you see the original footage, you hear him talking.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, we got him. You see him, look at him cheesing. They ad-libbing and everything.
And it was like an iPhone 3. Like, it was real grainy cell phone footage.
So, but you know what? Let me tell you, though. I'm glad it happened in a way. Because what it says, Doc, even though you out here being innocent, and you'll stop and have a conversation with anybody, because I do. White folks stop me at the airport all day long.
Yeah.
They can't wait to have a conversation.
know
I got
that's
to be
gotta
more
be
careful
wild.
with how it's coming across.
Yeah.
Because there's niggas with phones.
Niggas with phones is dangerous.
Phones is dangerous.
And then I hollered at my shorty, right? And I'm telling my shorty, this is why I tell you, we got to move a certain way
Yeah.
in public. Because I don't need you all over YouTube because you got spotted with me.
Right.
You have a job. You have a reputation. You have things you can lose.
Yeah.
And these niggas will stop at nothing to discredit you because you know me. So stop being so thirsty to be seen with me in public because that shit could cost you your career. You see what I'm saying? And that Cherry Hill thing showed you. We got to move a certain way.
Gotta be on
public enemy
code.
number one.
Gotta be on
Don't
code.
get it twisted. I might be popular, but I'm still a public enemy. And you got to stay conscious of that.
I can't wait to be successful. That's what I'm going to tell all my bitches. No, baby.
Calm it down.
Calm it down.
Yo, it's
Man,
real.
some motherfucker acting like he on the phone, but he filming you.
Yo, I'm like, my brothers did this to me. You know, Jersey, we ride hard. Jersey,
Yeah.
one of my places.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
Newark, Camden, Elizabeth. I done been all over Montclair, Jersey City. I'm like, damn, my Cherry Hill brothers did me like
Did
that.
you in?
Yeah,
You
but
know,
it's
but-
funny
Did you
because
in?
we always say Cherry Hill Mall is the interracial dating capital of the world.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, that's what we
Wow,
always
I
say. And
didn't know that.
it's
I
funny
didn't
that
know
we bring that up. And
'Cause that was the first time I was in the mall in like 10 years.
that
I
was
can't
wild.
believe-
I wasn't even. I completely forgot about that. It's
Yeah.
funny we got on that topic, but no,
Yeah.
Cherry Hill Mall is definitely it's up.
But the
there.
white girl was honest to her credit because when they came back to interview her,
Yeah.
which I thought was
yeah,
ridiculous.
kind of wild. Yeah, you
know what I'm
we
saying?
need.
You know what
And
I'm
hard
saying?
copy.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Because she could have played it out.
Yeah.
She was honest. You know, I wanted to know who he was. Everybody stopping and talking to him. And you know, white folks is newsy. I know.
Oh, yeah.
Who are you? Especially in
Yeah.
the airplane. Everybody coming by. Are you an athlete?
Well, I was
You know,
on the
they assume
plane.
you're a rapper.
I was on the plane. I'm sitting in first class. I forgot where I was flying to, but somebody got on the plane and was like, "Yo, cause we get your autograph." Talking about the show, or whatever.
Yeah.
And the white dude leaned over, "What do you do?"
Yeah,
and I'm
news.
just like, "No, they be quick to ask you that."
Yeah, no, they want to. Who's this nigga sitting next to me?
Is that one
They
side?
You see, I don't be wanting to tell them all the time, because once you look me up, you ain't gonna like me.
yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But sometimes I tell them, go ahead, Umar. Oh my God. God, he's a racist. Malcolm X. Listen, man, I'm just for my people. I'm not against y'all, but I'm for my people, and I'm not making no apologies either. You know what
So
I mean?
you out white dude cracking on a black woman? That's a complete no.
That's a complete no. Take it somewhere else.
Take your fetish somewhere.
Yeah,
take your
it
fetish
somewhere
around the
else,
corner,
man.
Todd.
Take it somewhere else, man. Because see, what y'all don't know, what a lot of people don't know, is I have met some of these women who've been in these relationships with these white men when it didn't turn out in their favor.
Oh yeah.
I've met black women who told me the white man called me a bitch, called me a nigga. You feel me? Who she was in love with, married to. I mean, hurt their feelings, bro. Imagine you marry a white girl and she cheating on you with a white dude, and she taking your money to the white dude, and you was just an economic hit up.
Yeah.
You feel, yo, bro, that's no
I
money
get
shit.
deep.
It get deep, man.
Yeah, get deep.
It get real deep. And you notice when the white men beat up on these black women and they take them to court, they don't go to jail. They don't get convicted.
No.
Remember the NFL player who beat up his black girlfriend real bad maybe 2 seasons ago in the house?
Yeah,
It was on
the
the
lineman.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
lineman.
The NFL swept that shit under the rug.
Yeah.
How you sweep that under the rug? Because who the
Ray
brother
Rice.
from the Vikings, the running back who spanked his son?
Oh, Adrian Peterson.
Look what they did to his career.
Yeah.
But this white boy punched this girl, strangled her, damn near killed her, swept right under the rug, man. Double standard.
Yeah, they try to say he was having mental issues or some
bullshit.
crazy shit.
I don't care what he was having. If a European Jew find a Nazi who had mental issues during their Holocaust, do you think that's going to stop them from stringing his ass up? Yeah. It's a double standard for us.
Indeed.
Look at what just happened at the HBCU, Winston-Salem. What was it? A Latino teacher got the black sister arrested?
Yeah, that was kind of
disagreeing with her.
She didn't apologize with her or something. Yeah.
Yo. First of all, we got too many white people teaching at the HBCU.
Hello.
You feel me?
Spooky button.
But I also think that is something else that could have been changed too. Had Deion stayed and carried out the mission a little bit more. You know what I mean? But
yeah.
It is what it is. I just think black men have to do a long assessment of what we want our women and children and elders to think about us. Because if we're going to keep on making moves, moves particularly based on money, we're going to keep on losing the respect of our people. We didn't get this far because of money.
Yeah.
We got this far because of manhood, and we need to get our manhood back.
I could agree to that. What did you think of Jalen Rose being forced to apologize live on air?
I thought that was wrong because Jalen Rose's point was 100% accurate. How do you expose Ime Udoka for cheating, which is wrong? I don't care what the race of the woman is. You shouldn't be cheating with another man's wife, black or white. But how does the woman at the heart of the scandal not get exposed? She also committed a sin when she cheated against her husband.
I think
she committed more of a sin because she was married and Ime wasn't.
Absolutely. Absolutely. But guess what? White snow bunny privilege. It's the same reason why the cop who shot our brother Dante right outside of Minneapolis, Minnesota, that police killing, when she went to court, did you see what the judge did? Because the white woman started crying in the stands. Okay, the judge said, I think she suffered enough, and I'm going to sentence her to time already served in probation. Because she cried. Remember the other one, Amber Geiger, when she killed Botham John, the same situation. The black judge gives her a Bible, and Botham John's brother come and give her a hug. This woman killed your fucking brother, and you hugging her in court? Talking about I don't want her to go to jail? That's that white Jesus shit we got, man. Yeah. That's why nobody respect us. Look at all the police killers, and the first thing we do when we get on TV is forgive the fucking cop before he been tried, convicted, indicted. What are we doing? We telling people you ain't got to respect black people.
What are we doing?
I'm forgiving you, and my son's blood ain't even dry. The blood's still hot on the ground. I forgive you in the name of Jesus. Religion has stripped black people of our integrity, and we better get it back because this shit is looking bad. It's looking bad anytime you're going to pardon a killer who took a black life before the killer even asked for forgiveness.
Right.
They don't even have to ask for forgiveness. We giving it out to them. Stop that shit.
Yeah, we got free forgiveness for everybody.
In private in your house. Don't forgive them on television. Make people respect us. I raped your wife. I forgive you.
I forgive you, brother.
Come on, bro. We got to do better.
What were your overall thoughts on the Ime situation? Do you think he should be allowed to coach again?
Of course he should. Yeah. Of course he should. He ain't the first person to cheat with a married woman. He ain't the last. There's hundreds of white men doing the same thing, but white privilege protects them from being exposed. He should be allowed to coach again. I think it was a stupid move to do that inside of the agency you working for. Yeah. But I think he should be allowed to coach again. But I think it underscores the fact that although you rich, although you successful, you still black. And there's rules to the snow bunny crisis. And one of the rules to the snow bunny crisis is you are not allowed to sleep with married white woman as a Negro. That is absolutely unacceptable by white folks. Remember, once upon a time, you couldn't sleep with them at all.
Yeah, that'll get you hanging at Times Square.
Move the goalpost. But the new goalpost is you don't touch no married one. Ime touched the married one. That's why he got spanked up, and that's why TJ Holmes got spanked up. You cannot sleep with the married girls. Leftover white girls are for Negroes, not the married ones.
I want to throw some names out there. I want to have a little bit of fun right now.
Go ahead.
I want to throw some names out there.
Word association or?
Nah, we just want to know how many lashes.
Okay.
That's all I want to know. How many lashes? Stephen A. Smith.
This is what I want. Give me all the names because I want to make sure I don't give somebody more than somebody else deserves.
Okay. Stephen A. Smith. Did you hear that he responded to you on his podcast?
I didn't see it yet, but everybody told me he did.
He said he basically gave you the "we supposed to be brothers" speech. Lashes, really, man? That's what you gonna do? Lashes.
But I thought you and Kyrie were supposed to be brothers.
Yeah. Know his family. He know Kyrie's family. Yeah.
Sources.
I didn't know that.
He knows Kyrie's family. He been throwing Kyrie under the bus for 2 years straight. He knows his family.
Kyrie's family?
Yes.
Damn. Wow.
Yeah.
That's a wild there, bro.
Make it worse, right?
Who else you got?
Shannon Sharpe.
Uh-huh.
Jerry Jones.
Uh-huh.
Joe Tsai, who's the owner of the Brooklyn Nets.
Uh-huh.
Charles Barkley.
Oof.
Shaq.
Oof.
TJ Holmes.
Okay.
Michael Irvin.
Uh-huh.
And Deion Sanders.
Okay. Jerry Jones is at the top.
He has to be. He's white.
He gets whipped into a coma. However many lashes it takes. Old Krusty is his name. Old Krusty is at the top, right? After Old Krusty is Shaq and Barkley.
That's crazy.
Okay, so we got Old Krusty, then we got Shaq and Barkley. Dynamic
and the
duo.
reason Shaq and Barkley are up there, Batman and Robin, is they have been cooning more consistently than everybody else on the list. They have quantity and quality. They not only coon the most, they coon the hardest.
Oh, they got quality to they cooning.
I think they get whipped into a coma too. In fact, they can get whipped with Jerry. Put them three together.
They all on the same tier.
Oh yeah, Shaq, Barkley, and Jerry Jones get whipped together. They get the most whips. After them, Stephen A. and Shannon are close to each other, but they're less than Barkley and Shaq because Stephen A. and Shannon will speak up for black people at times. Shannon speaks up more than Stephen A., but Shannon will not date a black woman. Stephen A. has never said that. So it's hard for me to choose which one of them is worse for the culture.
They got different attributes that kind of counteract one another.
Counterbalance.
Yeah.
I'm going to put them together. They're the
Okay.
next level, though. I'm not going to give Joe Tsai too much because he ain't really do too much. You know, he gave Kyrie the demands, but I don't think he ended up having to meet them all. So Joe Tsai is towards the bottom. TJ Holmes, I haven't really followed him too much. He gets some lashes because he shouldn't have been with the white girl.
Holding her hand, jumping out of Ubers.
Stupid.
At the cafe, everything.
He get lashes.
Wait,
mostly-
that's the host from the
He got sloppy. So
Real
he's getting
sloppy.
lashes for the
Yeah, she in the
Snow Bunny
yoga studio.
crisis.
He in the corner smoking a cigarette.
Yeah.
Paparazzi all in this nigga face.
Yeah.
When y'all hopping
gets
out the Uber
lashes.
with matching Uggs, go,
Yeah.
go
He
get
gets
some
lashes for the
coffee.
Snow Bunny crisis, and he gets lashes for being stupid. So he's right above Joe Tsai. Those are the two to the bottom. Who are we leaving out?
We got Michael Irvin
Michael Irvin.
taking up
The
for
only
Jerry
reason
Jones.
why Michael Irvin isn't being whipped with Jerry, Shaq, and Charles is this the first time I've seen him coon that bad.
Okay.
He ain't got that much time in.
He don't got enough coon
He
equity.
ain't got enough coon equity. I'm going to drop him. I'm going to put him lower than Shannon and Steven because, again, he ain't got that much coon equity, but more than TJ Holmes, though. So he's below Shannon.
So he ain't like at the
and-
bottom third.
He's like the bottom third. But if he was on TV with Shaq and Charles talking that kind of shit,
Yeah.
he'd be getting whipped with
He'd
Jerry
be at the
Jones.
top of the list.
In fact, you know what? Tie his ass up with his owner. No, whip Mike with Jerry. We'll take him to the Cowboys whipping post. No, whip Mike, because that was bad. That was
Yeah.
bad. To go out of your way to defend a racist just because he paid you, that's not acceptable, bro.
Do you feel like the media, like LeBron said, with the why is no one asking me about the Jerry Jones shit?
Because the purpose of the white media, as far as black men are concerned, is to castrate, emasculate, and destroy the positive image publicly. That is their job. The media's job is to misrepresent black men every chance that they get, which is why our egos have often been used against us because we are so in love with cameras that whenever one is available, we like to jump in front of it, failing to recognize their agenda is not to make you look good. Their agenda is to make you look bad. And this is why when I speak at lectures, right, it's always media people out there. Dr. Umar, CNBC out here, CNN out here. No. That's big time. You're going to get exposure. My work is it does not include being understood by white people.
Right.
You understand me?
Yeah,
My
yeah,
work does not include being understood by white folks. I don't give a shit what they write, but let me tell you what they're not going to be able to write. They're not going to be able to say, I contributed to their public lynching of me in their newspaper.
Yeah,
You
they're not going to be
understand?
able to misquote you.
Yeah, you're not going to be able to misquote because I'm not giving you shit.
Yeah.
So whatever you say is what you think. You're not going to be able to say, and Dr. Johnson said, unless they let you into the lecture, and I don't even want them letting you into the lecture, but I don't have no control over that. But I am not interested into talking into white media people. Now, if they catch me, I'm not running from them. You
Yeah.
feel me?
Yeah.
But if I'm asked if I want it, no. White people are not going to serve us any good. White media is one of the most important aspects of the white military domination of black people. We don't need their media. We need our own.
I agree with our own media. We definitely
need our own media, bro. We
absolutely
one
need our own
One of the
media.
conferences we're going to have at FDMG is a black media. We need a global black media. Because if something is going on in Chicago, how do we know in Philly?
We need media to
White people
correspond to
tell
shit.
us.
Yeah.
Exactly. Something going on in Africa, how do you know? The white media tell you. How did you know about Hurricane Katrina? Because the white media told you. You follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So black people can only get information about their own people from white people. Look at us, y'all. We have no idea of the level of war that we are in and that is coming against us. We have no idea.
Got two more.
And it's coming this decade. This ain't no long off shit.
Yeah.
They at it now. They at it now.
Mm-hmm.
These next 7 years going to be hell for black folks. We better get ready.
Got two more questions.
Sure.
One, what do you think of some of the other prominent black figures in and around the media, like Tariq Nasheed, Dr. Mark Lamont Hill, and some others? Is there any crossover or commonalities between some of their messaging and yours?
I respect everybody else. Shout out to Dr. Mark Lamont Hill. He's from North Philly, as am I.
Yes, indeed.
Good scholar, great dude. They're not Pan-Africanists. I respect them. I'm not sure if a lot of these other personalities take the black struggle as seriously as I do. But I respect them. There's a place for them, so I wouldn't say anything to disparage them. I just think that there's a difference between being a spokesperson and being an organizer. And there's a difference between being an organizer and being a leader. I consider myself an organizer. I'm very careful about saying leader because last time I checked, we've never had a national black convention to choose leaders. You understand?
Right.
So I'm very
You wasn't
careful
elected to
about
anything.
imposing myself upon 50 million Africans as their leader. But I just think that we have too many personalities in black consciousness who are more in love with being seen than in being felt.
Yeah.
More in love with social media than in making a difference in the streets. And I'm not saying that that's necessarily the case for those two gentlemen, but I'm very disappointed, generally speaking, about the fact that I'm the only person in my generation within black consciousness who has built a relevant institution. That right there is a disgrace.
Yeah.
You follow what I'm saying?
I follow.
All the people on social media talking about I'm a this and I'm a that and we need to do this and we need to do that ain't built nothing, ain't changed nothing. That speaks to the level of integrity we have. It speaks to the level of sincerity. It speaks to the level of commitment. And I would dare say it speaks to the level of manhood also.
Amazing
and
answer.
I think one of the reasons I get the type of love that I get, even from people who may disagree with me on certain aspects of my political position, is at least they do see me fighting.
Yeah.
At least they do see me out there building.
In real time, too.
In real time. And so even if I don't agree with Dr. Umar on the Snow Bunny crisis, the brother fighting for my kids. So what else can I say? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And I just don't think we have enough of them. Back in the 60s, right, you had Stokely, Huey, Malcolm, Medgar, Hampton, Nation of Islam, Garvey Movement, SNCC, CORE, SCLC. We ain't got none of that now.
Yeah.
All of them were activists.
Right.
We got a whole bunch of social commentators, no activism.
Yeah, nobody
You go
out in the
back to
field
Frederick
actually
Douglass.
doing the work.
You had Frederick Douglass, Martin Delaney, Henry Highland Garnett, Bishop Turner. You go back to Richard Allen right here in Philly, Absalom Jones, Octavius Cato, Robert Purvis. You feel me? They had contemporaries who are also fighting and building. What we got now?
Yeah.
You give really good answers. We gotta introduce you. We gotta introduce you to Omar Tate. You like
Omar
him.
Tate.
He's chef of the year. We
Okay,
had him on
okay.
Yeah,
the
he
show.
was
Strong.
But he gave really good answers like
Okay,
this. He
okay,
just
okay.
opened up. Shout out to him, man. He just opened up Honeysuckle Provisions.
Black
Black
Supermarket.
Supermarket.
Yep, 48th
48th
and
Street.
Walnut.
Yeah,
I'm gonna check him out.
Honeysuckle Provisions. Yep.
How long it been open?
he literally
Literally
about
like a
2
month,
months,
month or
and a
two.
half.
Write that down. Honeysuckle Provision.
Yep.
Yeah.
48th and
We had
48th
him
and
on the show when he was
Walnut.
chef of the year last year. Shout out to Omar Tate, man. He's one of our great answer givers.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Honeysuckle Provision.
Provisions. Yep. Black owned supermarket.
Get out of here.
And I
It's
believe
another
they
black owned one right here in North Philly. The brother right there by across the street, Grocery Outlet, 20th and Jefferson, right?
Yeah. And I believe, don't quote me on this, I believe he sources like his vegetables and all of that stuff from a black-owned farm, I believe.
Which one?
Honeysuckle Provisions.
Okay, I'm gonna check him out.
Yeah.
Check him out. I didn't know that, man.
Yeah.
Shout out Omar, man.
We got 2 black supermarkets in Philly. All right, Philly, we doing it.
Yeah, brothers doing the
I got
work.
the school, they got the supermarket. Now we need that black bank because United ain't
Chad
it.
has some
No
money.
disrespect
Get
to
the bank,
United,
get the bank going.
we need that black clinic. And funny because, we used to have Frederick Douglass Hospital here in Philly.
Really?
Yeah, right there on Lombard Street, all black hospital. Philly had 2 black hospitals. Both gone. So we need a black hospital.
Ain't no doubt about
You know
that.
what I mean? The black bank. We got the supermarket.
Yeah.
We got the schools. And we need some manufacturing and distribution. Because right now, China running the world with manufacturing and distribution.
Absolutely.
That's why America can't do nothing about them.
People don't even have no qualms about it or like they just like, oh yeah, China. Like they just
Yo, that's how they did it. They were strict. They said, listen, the white man makes his money through selling expensive shit.
yeah.
We're going to make our money by selling the cheapest shit.
Yeah, we're gonna corner the market on all the cheap shit you need.
That's what they did.
Yeah.
China has made themselves indispensable because most people in the world live off of less than $1 a day. We sell all the dollar store shit. China sells all the dollar store shit. So when you tell people not to mess with China, how you going to do that when they got the flip-flops, the cheap clothes, the cheap soap?
Yeah, we
cheap
remember the
food?
documentary?
What you mean get rid of China? We can't afford to buy from France.
Right.
We can't, you follow what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So for the poor people of the world, China got it.
It's whole export shit in China where they just ship out fake shit. Like I'm talking about tankers. Me and Dan was watching the documentary. Like they got a mall over there. It's all fake shit.
I was in there.
Yeah, the whole mall is just fake shit.
I walked through the mall. Yes, I was in there.
Yeah, we was watching the documentary. This shit was nuts.
It blew my mind because I'm like, yo, this is a real mall like the fashion district.
Yeah.
Everything is bootleg.
Right.
They had the Air Jordans on there. The Jordan was upside down. You feel me?
Yeah.
Like you can still
Jordan had
tell
a BBL.
they had a true religion. But let me tell you why I couldn't buy nothing. You want to know why I couldn't buy nothing? As you know, the Chinese people are much smaller than African people.
Yeah.
Right.
I couldn't fit
Nothing.
and I was pissed.
Yeah.
My dad ordered a hoodie.
Polo, Gucci.
My dad ordered a hoodie. The shit. He was like, "Yeah, I got a 4X. It'll be big." Swear to God, that shit was too tight for you. Like, yo, this ain't no fucking 4X.
The problem you want to have.
So
in
4X, FOREX.
You know, a lot of black people fly over there, buy they bootleg shit, ship it, right, come back. But if you shopping for yourself and you above 5'6",
Yeah, you toast.
bro, I couldn't find nothing in China I could fit, bro. Nothing.
I can believe it.
Nothing. And guess what? Guess who love watermelon and fried chicken more than us?
Oh yeah,
Chinese people.
Yeah.
they love watermelon. That's their shit.
Watermelon and fried. I said, yo, these are the real fucking black folks. The Chinese chicken, chicken and watermelon. It was amazing over there, bro. And true story, no disrespect to the Chinese people. I'm only telling what I was told. At night, people in China do not leave their dogs out in the yard because people will cook them. Straight up.
That's vicious.
Straight up.
Leave Fido outside. Don't leave Fido outside.
Yeah. People do not leave their dogs out. They say, yes, people will cook and eat the dogs. So if they do that in China,
Yeah.
now we know why them chicken wings feel like yogurt.
Paul Mooney, I always talk about Paul Mooney, one of his stand-ups. He said, I used to live in Chinatown. He's like, middle of the night, I hear a dog barking. Like, the family don't got a dog. Like, the fuck going on in there? He's like, next night you hear a cat meow. It's like, they don't got no cat.
Yo,
He's like, one night I heard a baby crying. I said, all right, I got to get the fuck out of here. They don't got no baby.
Got no baby.
He said, but that's why all that shit be $2 a bowl.
Yeah. I was over there and they told me.
Yeah.
Yes, people do cook and eat dog here.
My goodness. What can we do to improve the ethnic image of black people?
Number one, create your own media. Because I don't care how much positive things we do going forward, they're not going to show it on their media. Yeah. Their agenda is to crucify your image, not promote it. So you got to have your own media. That's number one. But then on top of number two, we just have to take care of business. We got to do what needs to be done for black people, for the whole black world. Because as we go, the whole diaspora goes. Because everybody looks to blacks in America as the leaders. And we're not taking that responsibility seriously. We're not doing well. You know, when I travel across the world, I tell blacks all the time, if y'all waiting on Black America to get this right, you might be waiting for the rest of your life. Y'all cannot wait on us. Our people are just as confused over there as you guys are here. So let's just get busy wherever we are. Don't wait for us, man. We are confused. Post-traumatic slavery disease is still with us. Don't wait on us. We're more concerned about being Americans than being liberated Africans.
My last question. Is there any hope for Brother Kanye?
Of course. Kanye is brilliant. He's a genius. I think he could be a foolish at times, but there's hope for him. You know, at the end of the day, he goes down in history, at least for me, as being the only black man in modern times to expose the European Jewish exploitation and control over black celebrities and entertainers. He did it in his prime. He lost a lot of money in doing it and refused to equivocate. He remained unapologetic even in the face of seeing his assets dwindle. I could only respect a man like that. But on top of that, I need Kanye to make up his mind whether he's going to be a fighter for the black cause or a fighter for the multiracial cause, because he keeps going back and forth. I see too much vacillation, too much seesaw, too much give and go. You either for us or you for everybody. Make up your mind. And if you want to be a multicultural activist, so be it. Just let that be clear. If you want to keep on dating white girls, so be it. Just let that be clear, because if that's the direction you want to go in, then I can just cross you off my list of black men who I will respect and honor. You understand me?
Yeah, I can stop expecting a certain thing to come from you. I just know it's never going to happen.
Yeah, because you keep going back and forth, and like, you know, no black man who cares about black people is a Trump supporter. Impossible. You're not a Biden supporter either. You're off that total.
I was about to say, I don't think you support anything.
No, you're off. You want independence. You want an independent black political party, caucus, okay, or union where we can stop being exploited by the Republican Democratic dictatorship and push our own agenda on elected officials. That's what you should be going for. You know, but by pushing Trump, you're keeping us tied into the Republicans. By pushing Biden, you're keeping us tied into the Democrats. And anybody who's keeping you tied into a white person or a white racist political party at all that has no solutions or intent to create any solutions for your people cannot be a resource. They cannot be trusted.
Absolutely.
Independence is the goal. Independence in all things.
Are there any, I know I said that was the last question, are there any politicians or people out here in that political realm that Dr. Umar feels like black folks can trust or put our faith in?
Dr. Claude Anderson.
He's a brilliant man. Brilliant man.
Dr. Claude Anderson a lot.
Yeah, Dr. Claude Anderson. He's of age, so I don't know how much he could actually do at this point.
Yeah.
But he's somebody I would work with. I think David Banner and T.I., I think they pretty serious about what we need to have done amongst the celebrity class. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of people who you don't know because they're not on social media who are out here working and moving and doing things like that. And one of the things we want to do at FDMG is I want to start meeting. That's why I can't wait to get the school ready so we can start having some meetings and bring some of these people together, and let's sit down and set some policy and start creating some programs and systems and institutions so we can save and serve our people. You know, that's the next stage of this.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad that God blessed me with the school because I've been speaking all the time, speak, and I think so many people put me in a speaker's box. You know what I mean? I'm much more than that, and I'm glad the school is here so people can see me make that transition from orator, you understand, to institution builder.
Yeah.
That was a transition that I very much needed to make. You know, we've had all kind of great speakers. You understand?
Yeah.
That's not what matters.
Yeah, where's your action?
Where your legacy at?
Yeah.
How you changing and transforming things. So
No, that's real.
I'm glad we are right here at the epitome of seeing FDMG manifest.
Yeah. Well, Dr. Umar, this has been fantastic.
No problem,
we
brothers.
appreciate you, man.
I enjoyed it.
We love you. We support you. We with you. I think that your voice is just so important and unapologetic and getting out a lot of the different messaging, you know, about things that, like you said, our celebrity or our spokesperson class is afraid to speak on. And it's been a definite change agent over the last few years. And you are one of the few people that always manages to like crack the matrix whenever you talk, man. And people really resonate and hang on to all of your words. And we appreciate all of your work. Congratulations on the school.
It's authentic.
Yeah.
And, you know, that's the biggest thing. I didn't mean to cut you off. Because where we are at times in media, it's like A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Like, people run the same gauntlet almost.
Yeah.
And it's like, even if you don't agree, it's authentic. This is what I stand on. This is how I feel. This is what I believe in. So I always respected it.
And what I always tell people, my goal is not to turn you into an Ifa Tunde robot. My goal is to force you to think. It doesn't matter if somebody disagrees with everything I've ever said. If in me saying it forces you to a reassessment
Look in the mirror
of your political positions and views, then I succeeded. Our issue is the paralysis of independent thought. In Black America, we have so little independent thought. So my job is to rebirth independent thinkers in the Black community. The purpose of the academy is to birth independent thinkers, because if you ain't got no independent thinkers, you're not coming up with no new solutions.
Absolutely.
You're going to keep on revetting that old, tired,
recycling them old ideas.
Come on.
This has been fantastic. Anything else you want to tell people before we wrap this thing up and we get up out of here?
Make sure y'all register for www.drumar.tv, since YouTube and Instagram and Facebook be removing my live streams. I've decided to put them on a private platform. So go to www.drumar.tv, where you'll see a lot of my newest content, analyses, and lessons for the people. drumar.tv. Check that out, family.
We're going to make sure we drop drumar.tv and the link in the description to this episode. This is, if you're watching this, is January 1st, so Happy New Year from TRPE.
Happy New Year.
We appreciate y'all for supporting us. We're going to kick off the year right, man. We got a legend with us, and hopefully y'all enjoyed this episode. Realest podcast ever, man. We out.
Yes, sir.
Peace.